Well, it is a honeymoon Hollywood makeover. I mean, he has to define her. And he will get an advance copy of my report, just like the White House will. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to women, Vice President Harris let down the women in Afghanistan. She's going to make this campaign about women. But let's look at the women left behind in Afghanistan who are now basically under Sharia law, under slavery from the Taliban, who are extremely disappointed in her. They expected her to stand up for them, but just like the Americans and our Afghan partners, the women is the saddest chapter in this whole story because they are the ones being persecuted. They are the ones that cannot be educated, can't come out of the home, are treated like slaves. And it's all because of this policy.
The chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Michael McCall of the great state of Texas. Mr. Chairman, thanks for your time. Have a great week.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Barbara is a real Prevagen user, and this is her story.
I'm Barbara, and I'm from St. Joseph, Michigan. I'm a retired school librarian. I'm also a library board trustee, a mother of 2, and a grandmother of 2. I like to be healthy. I exercise a lot. I eat in a very healthy manner. I was working full-time, taking care of an ailing husband full-time. In short, I had an awful lot on my plate. Basically, I thought that my memory wasn't as good as it had been. I needed all the help I could get. I saw the commercials for Prevagen. I started taking it, and it helped. I noticed my memory was better. There was definite improvement. I take a supplement for my heart. Why not one for my brain? I've been taking Prevagen for a little over 5 years.
Prevagen is available in stores everywhere without a prescription. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Monday, what new chaos and crises did Kamala Harris cause over the weekend? Senator Jim Talent joins us at 4:25, 5:25 Red State Headlines with Susie Moore.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurological component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com.
Parents want more choices rather than fewer when it comes to their children's education. And now some Missouri parents will have one more option to get their children the best education available. Low-income students and those with disabilities in Missouri's largest communities can now apply for an Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA. With an ESA, the money the state would normally pay to your child's public school goes into an account that you control. You can use the funds for private school tuition, online learning programs, a private tutor, or other approved uses. You can tailor your child's education. For too long, Missouri officials have operated on the mistaken notion that parents only need one choice. They're assigned public school based on their address. ESAs put parents in charge. It's school choice at its best, with money following the students to the place that best fits their needs. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
Every day, something new.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Same old tired playbook.
She's a Marxist. She's a fascist. Now she's saying, oh, we want to build a strong border. Where has she been for 3.5 years?
He actually flew a drone in the hours before the attack. The gunman searched online for events of both Trump and Joe Biden.
We should be talking about public policies that matter.
1019 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Taking you right into the end zone with Fox Weather's exclusive weather forecasting technology and the risk of weather impact for every single game of the regular season. Listen to Storming the Field every Friday on FoxNewsPodcasts.com. A deeper dive into the major and controversial stories of the day. This is the Fox News Rundown. More coming up.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. The Vic Porcelli Show.
So the general election will still be under the auspices of Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. We'll ask him about the upcoming election Friday at 9:41.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for the Farmers Co-op Old Town Country Store in Old Town St. Peters, where they have a huge selection of products and services for your yard and home, including a full line of lawn and garden products, a full line of products for animal care, and that includes anything from livestock to the family dog or cat. They'll fill any size propane tank for about half the price of a new one and so much more. Visit them in St. Peters on 2nd Street, right behind the QT at 70 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, and check out all their products and services at oldtowncountrystore.com.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
I've got a way for you to really dress up your home, and only one guy I'd trust to do it. Michael Proctor, like doctor. Michael will personally examine which drapes, blinds, or shutters will complement your home. He doesn't just measure, he designs, and to make sure it's done right, he will install them. All this saves you money on custom-made drapes, shades, and shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. ProctorDrapery.com.
Are you a St. Louis small business owner looking to boost your brand? Blue Ocean Media Group offers affordable video production that packs a punch. From social media content to branded promotional clips, we'll help you stand out in the digital crowd. Professional quality, small business prices. Let's tell your story together. Learn more at blueomg.com. That's blueomg.com. Blue Ocean Media. Big impact videos for small business budgets.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peters location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. On this Monday, the pressure is on one Donald Trump to perform well in tomorrow night's Philadelphia debate hosted by ABC News. So why do I say that? because Kamala Harris is going to come in with rehearsed answers. Everybody knows that. And no matter what the two moderators from ABC ask her, she'll trot out a rehearsed answer. Now, after she spouts that, the moderators could follow up, but I wouldn't be betting on that. As we saw with CNN Dana Bash, the follow-up questions were non-existent. So Donald Trump not only is going to have to answer questions directed at him, but he is going to have to define Vice President Harris for the country. When Donald Trump is asked a question by David Muir or Lindsay Davis, the two moderators, he says, I will get to that answer in a moment, but I just want to tell you that I'm very uneasy as an American standing on this debate stage tonight. And then Trump launches into a 15-second musing about why he's uncomfortable. For example, I would really like to know why the Biden-Harris administration opened the border, leading to catastrophic consequences. Why did that happen? Maybe you want to ask the vice president that. If Donald Trump conducts himself that way, he'll win the election. Back in a moment. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Coming off that outstanding weekend of weather, we begin to warm things up today. Mainly sunny skies, a high around 83 this afternoon. 70s for your evening plans. Humidity still low, so a fairly nice day. Clear tonight, down into the mid-50s in St. Louis early Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday through Thursday, hotter days with highs from the upper 80s to low 90s. Our next chance of rain does not arrive until Thursday night or into Friday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, we are less than 2 months away from the big election, obviously the presidential election. The debate is tomorrow between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, as you know. Interesting question we're going to get into here in the just a little bit. Does Donald Trump need to win back some pro-life voters? Yeah, that could make a big difference depending on which state. Is it going to make a difference in Missouri or Illinois? No, it's not. But could it make a difference in the race overall? Well, maybe. We're going to have that tough conversation in just a little bit. Also, the new jobs report came out. Yeah, okay, a few more jobs created, not what people were hoping. Where do we go from here? We're going to cover that as well. Hey, good morning. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your day. Steve Rupp from Missouri Right to Life was with us on Friday's program. And, there was that court ruling where the judge rewrote the ballot language for Amendment 3, really gave the pro-abortion side kind of a gift. It's going to be easier for them to market something so destructive. And so we got the update and his assessment of what's not just what that language is going to be there for the ballot, but also how do we try to overcome what's misleading about it. Here's what Steve had to say.
I can't say I'm shocked that the judge struck down the language of Amendment 3. But when you look at what was replaced, it's without question friendlier to the pro-Amendment 3 side of this. But we can go through this line by line because there are some things on there that are stated as fact that you've pointed out just not true. I mean, what's your overall reaction to the judge's ruling?
Well, this is what's called a fair ballot language, and this does not affect what you're going to see in the voting booth. But when you walk into the polling place, there should be a poster there to explain complex issues that you're going to be voting on. And this amendment is certainly complex. It's really simple, but it's been made complex to try to confuse people. So the fair ballot language that Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft wrote said, so that before people walked into that ballot booth, they could look at this poster. Here's what they would say. It says a yes vote will enshrine the right to abortion at any time of a pregnancy in the Missouri Constitution. Additionally, it will prohibit any regulation of abortion, including regulations designed to protect women undergoing abortions, and prohibit any civil or criminal recourse against anyone who performs an abortion and hurts or kills the pregnant woman. That is called fair ballot language that he wrote, which is absolutely true. There's a word in there that is anything but true. Yet Judge Cotton Walker from Cole County, the circuit judge from Cole County, wrote that this language was unfair, insufficient, inaccurate, and misleading. So today, telling the truth is inaccurate and misleading. So he rewrote the language, and his language says a yes vote establishes a constitutional right to make decisions about reproductive health care. Well, what is reproductive health care? Why don't we talk about plain language? You're trying to tell people what they're going to be voting on here in a couple of moments, and what they're going to be voting on is killing an innocent human being by a violent method. And he says reproductive health care. So when you talk about misleading, that is misleading.
Absolutely, Steve. And in addition to the whole reproductive healthcare euphemism, which it's always been kind of the cloak of darkness that the pro-abortionists have used. They also include birth control in there for some reason, and I don't know why that's in there, considering the language of the amendment is tertiary at best, addressing quote unquote birth control, unless you're thinking that abortion itself is a form of birth control.
Well, what they're trying to do there, Mike, is they're trying to confuse the issue. Here's the actual language that is the full language of the Amendment 3. Let me read this right. The government shall not deny or infringe upon a person's fundamental right to reproductive freedom, which is the right to make and carry out decisions about all matters relating to reproductive health care, including but not limited to prenatal care, childbirth, postpartum care, birth control, abortion care, miscarriage care, and respectful birthing conditions. They throw all of those things in there to make it sound like, well, I'm in favor of respectful birthing conditions. Of course I am. But this isn't about respectful birthing. Everybody's for respectful birthing conditions, for crying out loud. This is about abortion. And they put all those other issues in there to hide the killing of an innocent human being. Do you ever see anywhere in this amendment anything about the child? Nothing, not a single word. Yet this entire thing is about killing innocent children in the womb.
We are visiting with Steve Rupp from Missouri Right to Life. Okay, let me ask you about another line of this fair ballot language, so-called fair ballot language that the judge wrote, not the Secretary of State. It goes on to, let me see here. Okay, it says it allows regulation of government. It allows regulation of reproductive health care to improve or maintain the health of the patient required. Now, here's the part I want to ask you about. which, by the way, that part right there is you've already pointed out, is incorrect. But get this, requires the government not to discriminate in government programs, funding, and other activities against persons providing or obtaining reproductive health care, and allows abortion to be restricted or banned after fetal viability, except to protect the life or health of a woman. Does that basically say constitutionally you will require taxpayers to fund Planned Parenthood?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the aspects of that particular bit of language there, first of all, it's two parts that are they're not unrelated. For some reason, it's one sentence, or they're not related, but it's one sentence. The idea that they add discrimination is like we're preventing the government from discriminating. That's kind of how the language is couched, which is, it sounds good. It necessarily sounds like the government is doing a good thing. Hey, we're preventing discrimination, as opposed to what's actually happening is we're providing an avenue for federally funded abortion
and state funded.
State funded abortion. Yes.
Yep, that's exactly what it says. It says the word funding right out there in the open.
Well, let me ask you about this, because that last line that I just read, this fair ballot language specifically says that abortion can be restricted or banned after fetal viability, other than life and health of the woman. Is that what's actually in the document itself?
Yes, it is.
Yes, so they can restrict it.
Yes, they and that, you talk about a red herring, Mike. Yeah. This is the red herring. They say that and people are going to walk out of there or be in that voting booth thinking, well, this will restrict abortion after viability, which is, by the way, what is viability? Is viability, it's a made-up term, by the way. It's not a medical term. It's a made-up term to try to, again, confuse the issue. Is it 19 weeks? Is it 20 weeks? Is it 24 weeks? Is it 25 weeks? Because there's no description of that. So what is fetal viability? And then they go on to say, they say in one sentence, they say that it will allow regulation after fetal viability. Then they turn right around to say, except, and as soon as you hear that word except, it should raise the red flags, except to protect the life or health of the woman. The health of the woman is described as virtually anything. Right. Stress. If she's pregnant and she's going to have a baby, and she doesn't want that baby, it's because it's going to cause her stress. Legally, this gives her the right to have an abortion literally up to the moment of birth, all 9 months. Okay. So it completely wipes out that other garbage about fetal viability.
Yeah, and also apparently it is misleading when they say it allows abortion to be restricted or banned then. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's what I was.
Because it really doesn't. It really doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. So we've had a couple people on social media send in questions, Steve. At least two have said, is there the ability to appeal this language decision?
At this point, no.
Okay.
Nope. Really, there's no time. There's no time to be able to appeal that. By the time this goes through the courts, it would be too late, because we have early voting on September 24th.
Yeah. So we're coming up real fast. Okay. Then where do we go from here? Because this ruling is a big gift to the pro-abortion side. So this is going to affect the message, because what's going to happen is somebody's going to say, no, here's what Amendment 3 does. And then all that the activists are going to do is say, no. Look right here. Here it says right here. That's not okay. So how do we, this is just another obstacle we have to overcome now. So how do we do it? What's the right way to approach this?
Well, we've got to educate the voters. We've got to educate the voters that this language is terribly misleading. I call it the language of illusion. And we've got to be able to expose that illusion to the voters. And there's all kinds of organizations right now that we're working together with to be able to do just that. Now, we do have one little bit of an ace in the hole. We pray like crazy. There's a hearing today in Jefferson City that there's a lawsuit that was fashioned by the Thomas More Society and a couple of our legislators and another citizen that have challenged the ability to even have this on the ballot, saying that it violates state and constitutional laws, because the state and constitutional laws say that you can't have an amendment to the Constitution that handles more than one issue. And this is by their own admission, this is handling many issues. Okay. And it also is going to it's against the law to be able to not show what laws are going to be affected by this constitutional amendment. And there are many laws. There's over 60 laws regulating abortion in the state of Missouri. All of those would be wiped out. Does anybody know that? Does a voter know that? The voter doesn't know that. This shouldn't have even been verified by the Secretary of State because it violates those statutes. So there's a hearing today, and it could pull this amendment from the ballot.
All right, that'd be great.
We'll find out maybe today. We'll find out maybe today, but more likely Monday what the ruling is going to be. And it's in Judge Limbaugh's court.
Okay,
so
so
some hope there.
Yeah, with Limbaugh, there actually is a
pray
little
hard,
hope
folks.
on this. All right, so Steve, people want to learn more. I know you've got plenty of resources. How do they get in touch? Because the bottom line is, we can't sit this one out. You can't be on the sidelines of this one and just hope for the best. We need people to get involved. Even that just means I'm going to make it a point to talk to my immediate, circle of friends and family. We've got to have everybody off the sidelines on this. How do they access what you have to offer as far as information?
Go to Missouri Rights Life website, MissouriLife.org, and click on the PAC website that has all the information. There's all kinds of brochures. There's access to volunteering. They can go to the volunteer portal and volunteer to be able to get yard signs, to knock on doors, to make phone calls. We've got a very, very, very coordinated ground effort happening all across the state of Missouri.
All right, let's get the first morning news dump of the day moving, and we're going to do that in about 2 minutes and 38 seconds right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the News Talk STL app.
News Talk STL.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the News Talk STL app.
Anywhere.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
For over half a century, Joe Bacardi's has been serving up a little taste of Italy right here in St. Louis. Family owned since 1971, we're more than just a restaurant. We're a local landmark. With 4 convenient locations, we offer something for everyone, from our famous pizzas to mouth-watering entrees and delicious salads. Dine in with a glass of wine or grab a quick carryout. Whether it's dinner for 2 or catering for a crowd, Joe Bacardi's has you covered. Visit joebacardis.com and join our loyalty program. Joe Bacardi's, where every meal ends with buon appetito.
Hello, Tim Jones here with Eric from Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Eric, your diamonds are so fantastic at Newsteaders. You named the website after them, wowdiamonds.com. Tell us about Wow Diamonds.
Well, we picked that name because when people look at the diamonds, they all exclaim the same thing. Everybody says, wow. And nobody can spell Newsteaders, so we figured Wow Diamonds would definitely be a good tagline, and it's very accurate. We actually introduced the lab-grown diamond to our St. Louis family, and we're the exclusive home of the trademarked Wow Diamond. It's the most perfectly cut and polished diamond you'll ever experience, and we can fit one into anyone's budget. The thing that's nice about them is they're significantly less expensive than a mined diamond, and of course the artwork is in the cutting and polishing. That's where you get the beauty in the diamond, and that's what we excel at.
Newsteaders, a St. Louis jewelry tradition since 1961. Stop by and find out why. 2961 Daughtery Ferry Road, or on the internet, wowdiamonds.com for Newsteaders Fine Jewelers.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Missouri.
This message presented by the MSH SAA and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, we may or we may not vote on Amendment 3 in Missouri after all. Jury's still out.
Okay.
No, figuratively speaking, the judge is still out on that. I'll give you the update on it. We have the other perspective regarding the controversy surrounding Thrive. That's going to happen in the 7 o'clock hour.
Looking forward to seeing what happens there.
Yeah, apparently our conversation on Friday regarding all the accusations against Thrive's leadership, a lot of people downloading and checking out that podcast.
Okay.
So we've got the other side there. And a Missouri Gold Star family is among those who will be honored by Congress this week. It is 5:51. Let's dump some news on you.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, Amendment 3 might not make it onto the ballot in Missouri, although that decision is far from final. So here's what's going on. On Friday, Judge Christopher Limbaugh ruled that voters were purposely not informed of the current statutes the amendment would overturn if passed. That's a violation of state law. That's what actually happened. So the ruling stops short of blocking the measure from the ballot. Basically, there's a stay in place, and Limbaugh gave the pro-abortion supporters time to file an appeal, which they did immediately. A final ruling is expected by tomorrow. Matter of fact, the hearing is expected to happen early tomorrow morning, and a ruling that day, because tomorrow is actually the deadline to finalize or kick something off the ballot for the general election in November.
Boy, I bet a lot of folks are following it back and forth over the weekend, as I was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. And there were some people that the news reports weren't completely accurate. They're close, but they're not accurate. Limbaugh did not block it from the ballot. He made a ruling saying, I know there's going to be an appeal, and so there's a stay on it. And so it basically right up to the appellate court. So that's where it's going to be decided sometime tomorrow. My personal guess is that they're going to leave it on the ballot. That's my guess. Judges are very, very hesitant to remove something off the ballot after the signatures have been certified, although it appears that there's multiple violations of Missouri election law involved in this. And so it would be frustrating for us on the pro-life side to say they didn't go by the rules. and yet they still get to put the pro-abortion amendment on the ballot. But we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it in a little more depth here in just a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. On Wednesday, Appalachian high school students in Winder, Georgia, of course, attacked in a shooting that killed 4 people. On Meet the Press on NBC, Georgia Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock decided to talk about his frustration that we don't have more gun control in this country.
14-year-olds don't need AR-15s. And we need to get these military-style weapons off the streets. 87% of Americans, Democrats and Republicans, according to a Fox News report last year, believe that we ought to have universal background checks, and still we can't even get that done in Congress.
Okay, now here's, we're going to go into more depth here in just a little bit. Apparently, the suspect's mother called Appalachian High School after getting a text in which that warned her of the shooting. Police have arrested 14-year-old Colt Gray and his father as well, but turns out the school actually had not much, but they had some advance warning that something like this could happen.
Was that warning the morning of the shooting?
The morning of. Yep. And they were looking for him, it turns out, but they did get some kind of warning to it. So it's a lot of moving parts here as we figure out what happened. All right. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris apparently have very, very different strategies when it comes to debate prep ahead of tomorrow's debate.
The two candidates are doing their own thing as the first debate draws near. Since Thursday, Vice President Harris has been prepping with advisors at a downtown Pittsburgh hotel. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign says the former president is not engaged in traditional debate prep, focusing instead on campaign events and interviews. ABC will host the 90-minute debate on Tuesday night at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And while they are at the National Constitution Center, my hope is that both of them look around a little bit and learn a little more about the Constitution. By the way, News Talk STL is going to be carrying that debate live starting at 8 o'clock on tomorrow.
Well, she was busy going to the Pensy Spice Shop.
Oh, did she go to a Pensy's?
Oh, she did.
Oh,
yes.
My gosh. What a stupid move.
Yeah, and just made the whole issue around, hey, I found some nice spices here. Well, now what spice shop was that? It was the totally anti-Republican Pensy Spice.
They hate most of the people listening.
Yes.
To this. I mean, I'm not kidding. If you go look up Pensy's and conservative or Pensy's and Republican or Pensy's and Trump or whatever, you will find they do not want your business, and they said so.
Yep.
They if you are anywhere right of center, Pensy's Spices basically hates you.
And you know what's ironic is there's another member of the family that has a pro-Republican spice shop in Milwaukee. So folks are going there to buy stuff.
Our spices are now partisan.
Yes.
That's the world we live in.
Partisan spices.
Jeez. All right. Okay, the families of the Freedom 13 are being honored this week. On Tuesday, each family, including the family of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, will be given the Congressional Gold Medal at a ceremony in Washington. Now, remember, along with the Congressional Medal of Freedom, the Gold Medal is the oldest and highest civilian award given by Congress. All right, House Republicans are expanding the investigation into the withdrawal from Afghanistan that led to the death of the Freedom 13. Recently releasing a report on their findings, Florida Republican Congressman Mike Waltz was on Fox News Live saying that withdrawal meant a lot more than just one debacle at that moment in time.
Afghanistan was the spark that lit the fuse on the chaos that we're seeing around the world, because it sent a message that America was in retreat. America would abandon its allies.
State Department reacts by saying this is Republicans being partisan, is what they are claiming. All right, a public memorial service is set for Ted Drewes Jr. this coming weekend. Drewes, as you recall, died at the age of 96 last week. The service happens Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Chapel of St. Timothy and St. Titus in St. Louis. Even though it's a Saturday, Ted Drewes Frozen Custard's actually going to be closed that day in honor of Ted Drewes Jr.
Okay.
Yep. So there you go. So
Yeah.
I imagine there'll be a lot of people turning out for that to show
Most
their
definitely.
respects.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and they should honor him. That's he did a lot of great things for St. Louis. All right, no games for the Cardinals today. They lost to the Mariners at Busch Stadium on Sunday, which means they lost the series 2-1, I believe it was. The final score was 10-4. Redbirds remain 10 games behind the Brewers in the division, and they are 6 games out of a wild card spot in the postseason picture. Wild card, obviously, then is the better chance of getting into the postseason, but neither one looks probable at this point.
As we said on Friday, they seem to be treading water.
Yeah.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family owned and operated, with owner Dean Cleathermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
Loyalty means a lot at Ackerman Toyota. That's why during COVID, Ackerman refused to charge over sticker price, while others did. Ackerman stayed true to their customers, selling at or below manufacturer suggested prices. Ackerman will get you what you want, and the service department has the same spirit. You come first. And thank you for making Ackerman Toyota number one in 2023. Ackerman Toyota, AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota for life.
Seavers JCB is where you need to go for the industry's best compact track loaders, featuring the iconic single-arm JCB power boom and side door entry. JCB compact track loaders are stronger and safer than conventional twin-arm machines, and they deliver the power and performance you need. For a limited time, get financing rates as low as 0.99% on new JCB compact track loaders, or take a generous cash incentive. Stop into your local Seavers JCB or visit SeaversJCB.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Jim Talent, former U.S. Senator.
They have no understanding of who they're dealing with. We already have the biggest war in the Middle East, and it's about to get bigger. I think an attack is imminent. I'd say it's going to come from 4 different directions. There's going to be a lot more missiles against a lot more targets, quite possibly including American forces, and from a lot shorter range, and therefore much harder to intercept.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. A grueling manhunt stretches into a third day today for a suspect in an interstate shooting that struck 12 vehicles and wounded 5 people in Kentucky. Randall Waddell is the mayor of London, Kentucky.
That is some rugged terrain and a lot of tree lines. If you guys know northern part of our county, just is what it is. And I'm confident they will apprehend them. We are asking everybody in the city of Lemons to be vigilant and know what your surroundings. If you're home, keep your doors locked.
Joseph Couch has been named a suspect in the shooting. Evacuations are ordered as a wildfire burns east of Los Angeles.
Mandatory evacuations are expanding as a wildfire burns in the foothills of the National Forest east of Los Angeles. Homes and other buildings are being threatened by the line fire. The blaze was burning uncontrolled along the edge of the San Bernardino National Forest. That's about 65 miles east of LA. As of Sunday morning, it had charred about 27 square miles. More than 600 firefighters were battling the blaze, along with water dropping helicopters and other aircraft. Temperatures in the area expected to be in the triple digits as Southern California experiences a days-long heat wave. I'm Julie Walker.
1 month after a judge declared Google's search engine an illegal monopoly, the tech giant faces another antitrust lawsuit that threatens to break up the company. The Justice Department and a coalition of states Google built and maintains a monopoly over the technology that matches advertisers to online publishers. On Wall Street, Dow futures are ahead 259. Nasdaq futures are up 139. News and analysis at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. and now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Coming off that outstanding weekend of weather, we begin to warm things up today. Mainly sunny skies, a high around 83 this afternoon. 70s for your evening plans. Humidity still low, so a fairly nice day. Clear tonight, down into the mid-50s in St. Louis early Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday through Thursday, hotter days with highs from the upper 80s to low 90s. Our next chance of rain does not arrive until Thursday night or into Friday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
Craving the most delicious pizza in town? Head to Monocle's on Highway K in the heart of O'Fallon. From thin crust to pan pizza, gluten-free options, and every topping imaginable. Monocle's, as you covered. Indulge in mouth-watering calzones, party-sized salads, and our famous sweet and tart dressing. Family-owned and locally operated, Monocle's serves up love and care with every bite. Dine in or carry out, and don't forget to try our banana-licious monkey bread for dessert. Order online at monocles.com or stop in today and tell them News Talk STL sent you.
Dreaming of upgrading your outdoor space? STL FenceWorks is the choice for you. Our skilled craftsmen build custom fences from modern vinyl to classic ornamental, fitting your style and budget. Elevate your outdoor living with low-maintenance decks designed to relax and entertain. We choose only top-quality American-made materials, ensuring your project is built to last. Your satisfaction is our passion. With over 50 years of experience, custom designs, and exceptional customer service, visit stlfenceworks.com today.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Mike Ferguson.
I'm the world's heavyweight wrestling champion.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I'm Batman.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up! Get up!
I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
All right. Will voters decide Amendment 3 after all? Court rulings got that in question right now. We may not actually even vote on it, which I am fine with.
Oh, yeah. I was praising God for seeing this. It's like, okay. Yeah. Do we have a chance? There's a chance.
Steve Rupp from Missouri Right to Life. We just had that replay because we talked to him on Friday about the ballot language, which one judge in Cole County rewrote to make it more favorable to the pro-abortion side.
By like a lot.
Oh, it was a big difference.
Yeah.
It went from the ballot language was tilted against the amendment. Now it's tilted for the amendment.
Yeah. I would say tilted hard, especially because of the obfuscation and outright lies that were built in.
Well, then a different judge got a different lawsuit from the Thomas More Society on that. And I'll get to that here in just a second. But there was a lot of confusion on social media. There's a lot of people who are saying a judge struck it down and banned it, blocked it from the ballot. That's not correct. But there is a stay involved and it may not end up on the ballot. We'll get to that here in just a second. 6:06 right now. Hey, top of the morning to y'all. By the way, Rebecca loves your shirt.
Yes,
Gabe.
This is the shirt. I actually had the story about this shirt walking around. I think it was Stuckey's or something like that. And like 3 people said, "Hey man, that's a great shirt." And I'm like, "Thank you." But read the shirt.
Yeah.
It stay away from me.
It says, I like 2 people and all the dogs.
Yeah. And all of the people who were approaching me were strangers. So clearly they were not one of the 2.
Comprehension was the thing.
Like, come on, guys.
By the way, Rebecca also says she saw the Reagan movie this weekend. And she says it is a fantastic movie. Best movie I've seen in years. Totally engaging and emotional. Dennis Quaid does a great job as Reagan. And we have the screening, our own News Talk STL screening coming up on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
This coming Saturday. Not only will Gabe be there, not only will Stell be there, not only will I be there, Bob Andres could be there. as well.
Oh, there we go.
So he's going to say hi, get a chance to meet him.
Special guest Bob on.
So go to newstalkstl.com and register to win a pair of tickets. I will tell you that we've had a lot of people enter in. So enter in and get your chance to win those tickets and come hang out with us.
And no matter when you see the movie, whether it's with us or with anybody else, make sure you stay all the way through the credits because there's a bunch of stuff after the credits run.
Yeah, good heads up on that. All right, let's talk about I'm going to get to the Amendment 3 thing real quick, just real fast here. We got an update from Officer Travis Brown's family, a Ferguson police officer who was suffered a brain injury at the hands of some pro-BLM, Michael Brown-inspired type of protesters when they decided to get violent on the anniversary of Michael Brown getting himself killed. It's been over 2 weeks now. Ferguson police officer Travis Brown is still in a coma, but the family says the doctors are slowly backing off of the sedation in hopes that he wakes up. So he has not awakened yet.
Okay.
But they're hoping that he will, and then they're going to have a better idea of what his condition is going to be like and what his prognosis is going to be like. And I hate to put it this way, if and when he wakes up, because we're still not sure what that's going to happen. This happened on August 9th. So this happened
a month ago today.
A month ago. Yeah. Man. There was another fundraiser for the family in Pagedale, and apparently like another $8,000 was raised for his family. Now the GoFundMe now is almost at $150,000. And I know that sounds like a lot of money, but when you're talking about a completely life-altering injury, like a traumatic brain injury like this, that's not going to last a lifetime.
Yeah,
but it's still going to be a big help to the family on this as well.
Absolutely.
So he did have pneumonia as well that had set in, which isn't that uncommon apparently when you are like intubated. But those symptoms are also starting to subside as well. So there's some good news, but not enough good news. We need more good news for Officer Travis Brown.
Keep praying, folks.
Absolutely. Okay. So here's what happened on Friday. Cole County Circuit Court Judge Christopher Limbaugh. Yes, he is part of that Limbaugh family. He was I want to say a cousin to Rush Limbaugh, I think it is. But he ruled Friday that Amendment 3 is, in his words, in blatant violation of requirements that initiatives are supposed to have in order to be a part of the process here, to get onto the ballot. So specifically, what he is saying is that the people who were doing the signature gathering purposely failed to mention and inform people of the statutes or provisions that will be repealed if voters approve the proposal. So what he's arguing is that the documents that you sign, the petition that you sign, is supposed to say this will repeal these statutes and laws, and they did not do that.
Okay.
And that's required by law.
All right. Well, that seems pretty plain, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty plain. And let's see here. There was also one other aspect of this too, that he said that they, basically are in violation of. So the finding that his ruling is that the initiative is in violation of state law, but he did not ban it from being on the ballot. And that was more of a procedural thing because he knows that it's going to be appealed. So he basically gave the ruling saying, yes, this is in violation of state law. Here's your time to file the appeal, because time is a factor here, because tomorrow is the deadline.
Right.
For something to be thrown off the ballot or kept onto the ballot. So they have to do it constitutionally. So there is going to be a hearing tomorrow morning at 8:30 in Cole County, I believe it's going to be. And this lawsuit was filed on behalf of two or three state representatives, one state senator, a couple state representatives, some pro-life activists, and the president of Our Ladies Inn. CEO Peggy Forrest was a part of that, as well as Hannah Kelly, Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman, and let's see here, Kathy Fork from who's an activist here. So they were the plaintiffs in the lawsuit on this, and so the folks who are promoting the pro-abortion rule or pro-abortion amendment, they've obviously appealed. They're going to get the hearing. My guess is that this is going to be on the ballot.
Oh, you're thinking so? Because who's the circuit judge that's going to?
I don't see that in the story.
Okay,
I don't know.
But it is going to a higher court.
Oh yeah.
From Limbaugh's court, and they're gonna make the final determination.
Yeah, and here's the thing: in Missouri, judges are really, really hesitant to remove something from the ballot after the signatures have been verified. But the other argument that the attorney from Thomas More Society said is that there's more than one topic on here which is blatantly unconstitutional in Missouri, and it is. And so I guess you can appeal the results if it wins, but judges are very, very hesitant just kind of in the legal community to take something off the ballot that has made its way onto the ballot.
I'd like them to be more hesitant to allow things that violate the law to go through, but that's a whole different story, I guess.
Yeah, and here's one of those things is I was trying to gauge myself on this, and I'm saying, okay, if Judge Limbaugh's ruling stands and Amendment 3 is tossed off the ballot, I'm obviously incredibly happy that we will not become a pro-abortion state,
right?
At least now.
And there's no chance of it, at least.
Yeah, there's no chance.
This cycle.
Right. And we would get another chance to get initiative petition reform done so that we can raise the bar, and then we can have the debate again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, am I just breathing a sigh of relief because there's a chance now, and the end result is we can stay a pro-life state, and I'm disregarding the process. But then I kind of came to where you ended up there, where you went immediately, and I kind of came around. I said, wait a minute, if they did not abide by the statutes, if they did not abide by the process, then no. Why should they get to short circuit it?
Right.
Why should they get to, violate the state law and get something on the ballot when they didn't do it the right way?
That would be special treatment.
Right.
I don't see why it's the same statute that requires the number of signatures, right? So I don't see why they would be allowed to get on the ballot violating this portion, not informing people, versus not having enough signatures.
One of the most common things I saw in reaction to the ruling was, a judge decides to ignore 380,000 Missourians who signed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess you could look at it that way if you want.
Yeah.
However, I mean, if I decided to start a ballot and I convince 380,000 people to sign it, but it's really super conservative and I violate state law along the way, and I don't want to say cheated. I don't know that they were trying to cheat. They were just doing what is done in politics.
Sure.
But if they violated the law, should I go, but enough of these people don't care that I violated the law, put it on the ballot. Let's vote. Why are you stopping people from voting?
Well, if the threshold was 250,000 and 249,000 people signed, you can't just say, "Hey, you're going against the will of 249,000 people." Yeah, but the law says 250 need to be on the on signatures. It's the same thing to me because it's the same statute and the law is supposed to be the same for everybody.
Yeah, everybody knows what the rules are. Am I getting very technical and picky because I want to stop a pro-life because I want to stop a pro-abortion thing? Well,
yes.
Maybe. But
I'll admit it. Yes, I'm being really technical.
Yeah, this is maybe our best chance to protect life in Missouri.
Absolutely.
Now, here's what I recommend. Everybody assume this is going to be on the ballot.
Yes.
Assume it. So don't stop talking to people about why they need to vote against something as extreme as Amendment 3 and why we've got to protect life in this state. And then regardless, if this does not wake up the Republicans in the state legislature as to why the initiative petition reform must happen, this is the one chance the pro-abortion side has to take a red state and pass an extreme pro-abortion measure. You can't let up because a judge made a ruling. Okay. All right. Just ahead here. It turns out that Appalachia High School had warning.
They had warning too.
They had warning
on top of it
that Colt Gray could be dangerous and that he was wanting to hurt people. He had warning. I'll tell you about that around 6:20.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up, get up, get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, Stan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, we're getting more details about the Georgia school shooting, and it looks like the school was warned before the school shooting started. Yeah. By the way, there were new jobs added to the economy last month. At least that's what the latest report says at the moment. At the moment.
Yeah. Can we believe the numbers?
Yeah. Who knows what it's going to say a few months down the road, but we got the update on the economy with our friends from the Competitive Enterprise Institute at 6:35. It is 6:20 right now. All right. Multiple reports now say Appalachian High School in Winder, Georgia had at least a few minutes warning before Colt Gray went on his shooting spree. Now, it doesn't sound like they had a lot of warning.
Okay.
But they at least had some warning.
Okay.
Okay. So let me go back to the articles that I found on this because I've been doing a lot of reading on this over the weekend here. And there we go. Okay. So here's what we know so far is that Colt Gray's mother and the father are not together anymore. Okay.
Right.
So,
and he stayed with his mother mostly.
It looks like he stayed with his father.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the mother of Colt Gray attempted to warn school officials a few minutes before the rampage. Okay. So Marcy Gray is the name of the mother, called the school a little bit before the attack, saying that there was an extreme emergency involving her son. Now, these details are in an interview in a story that was published in the Washington Post. And so another family member recounted that and sent screenshots of the text messages and all that sort of thing. The aunt of Colt Brown, her name is Annie Brown, or Colt Gray, Annie Brown. She's quoted in that story as saying, "I was the one that notified the school counselor at the high school
I told them it was an extreme emergency and for them to go immediately to find Colt Gray and check on him. And then screenshots of the text messages between her and her sister, apparently backed up, according to the Washington Post, that that call actually happened. And it happened. The text messages were about 30 minutes before the shooting started.
Man.
AP says that they spoke with Brown. Phone records from the family's phone plan, because you can go look up your phone records now,
right,
showed that they made a call to the school at 9:50 a.m. and in Georgia that would be Eastern time.
Yes.
School personnel did look for Colt Gray, but he had already, I guess, had his weapon, and they didn't get to him by the time he started shooting.
Had he left school, one thing I'm not clear on is if he was essentially skipping school and then went to the school with the guns, or he was at school with the guns and then kind of came out to do his business. You know what I mean?
The latter is what it sounds like.
Okay, so he was in school. It seemed all normal,
right.
And then he leaves class, maybe to go to the bathroom or something like that, goes and
Right.
gets his weapons and then starts up something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there was some confusion as they were looking for him, because apparently there's another kid with a very similar name.
Okay.
And so they were looking for him, and they ended up taking like that other kid's backpack. They couldn't find either kid. And then in the phone logs and the texts and the interviews that it was, I don't know how many minutes that he was able to go around and shooting people. And I'm looking at the article because there's a good synopsis put together. Jeff Charles put this together on Red State. Says Colt Gray's family history and personal struggles are emerging as critical factors in understanding what could have motivated the incident. He had reportedly struggled with bullying and his parents' separation. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
that's awful if that's what happened.
But a lot of people deal with that.
Yeah, we deal with that a lot. And so the father, of course, arrested as well, because despite knowing that his son had expressed these threats, and law enforcement visiting and questioning them, he still then went 6 or 7 months later and said, "Here, have a semi-auto rifle."
Yeah.
Which again, in a lot of rural areas, that's not unusual.
Well, that's a normal gift.
I don't know. I was 12, 13, 14 when I was given my first rifle. It was a 22 single shot rifle. Wasn't a semi-auto, but I mean, my first rifle I got about that age, maybe even younger.
Yeah, sure. I mean, from my understanding, if you are if you're coming from a gun loving family, you could be 10 and get a little 22 or something like that. Now, obviously, you wouldn't have immediate access to it to whenever you wanted.
Sure, right.
But still, I mean,
but I knew where it was, and there was a time I had to go use it. When I was in was I junior or high school? I don't remember, but there was a dog that was showing signs of rabies that kept coming around and kept wanting to get close to our dog, and so nobody was around, and we were out in the country, and you had to do what you had to do, and so I could have been more than 15 or so, maybe 16, but we were pretty young, my brother and I.
Yeah.
And so, we had to do that, and somebody would probably get mad at me for that, but there were clear signs of rabies, which when you live out in the sticks, you know what those are.
Yeah, you got to deal with that.
You have to deal with it.
You can't have a dog walking around with
No.
rabies. That's a danger to not only individuals, but also, animals that are important to,
Right.
farmland and ranches and stuff like that.
It had taken an interest in our dog.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our dog was in a fenced in area most of the time, but that was still not good. So, but
Anyway.
people are like, well, young people like that shouldn't have guns. Well, in the country, we did.
Well, and here's the thing. It still speaks to, the concept of culture having changed so much.
Yeah.
That it seems strange that a young person would be such a threat to society. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about before, there were times, especially in the rural areas, where kids are coming to school with guns just in their car on display.
Yeah.
And they weren't worried about it, first of all, getting stolen from their vehicle, and second of that kid somehow, deciding to shoot up the place.
Right.
So obviously the change isn't the guns or the proliferation thereof, it's the culture. And this kid is very emblematic of the culture. I'm very curious what's going to come out of the trials here.
Yeah, and I imagine these are going to drag on for quite some time. But we need to do these right to make sure that we get everything correct. And I saw a bunch of social media posts, and I don't know if they're true, saying that the kid was trans or he was angry about LGBT stuff or anything like that.
I don't know.
I saw the accusations, but I didn't see anything that looked like you can take that to the bank. That didn't. I mean, maybe there's something that'll come out on that, but I have not seen anything that I would say, well, that's definitely what happened. Now, maybe there is. I'm not saying it didn't. I'm just saying is that a whole lot of people ran with that narrative on the right, and I didn't see anything that for sure was from a source I would say, oh yeah, that definitely.
I don't think there's a manifesto.
No.
There's another thing I find very curious. How come there's been no investigation, or at least nothing shared about what happened regarding the family of the shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania? We've heard very little, if anything, regarding any investigation.
Which one is
into
that
the
one?
father? That was the Trump shooting in Butler.
Oh, that kid.
Yeah. I'm just curious as to why have we not heard much of anything regarding that? But this one, boy, they jumped right on it. And obviously they should have. But I'm just curious as to what's going on here.
There are a number of these public shootings where some of them get memory hold and some of them get investigated to the hilt. And I don't know what choices are made where to do one or the other.
I'm still with the one in Butler, Pennsylvania. I guess the more that I have read on it, and you have to dig for them, but there are some stories out there. It really, to me, more and more, and I know people don't like this because it's an election year and it's a political station and we're conservative and I'm supposed to fill in a conspiracy theory, but it looks like it was a crazy guy. And one of the presidential candidates was in his neighborhood and that was the opportunity. I really think that if the Biden campaign were doing a rally there, that he would have tried to shoot Biden. Now, he wouldn't have gotten there. The Secret Service would have locked that down a whole lot better.
Because it would have been actual Secret Service.
Yeah, the story there, I think the story there is the security, but the shooter, it sure looks like he was doing searches on both of them.
So he's a crazy kid looking to make a name for himself, which is very often what we see of these types of people. There's like, I'm going to shoot up a school so I can be somebody before I die.
Right.
Or
so that blaze of glory.
Yeah. It's the blaze of glory concept.
Right,
yes,
exactly.
So yeah, I can definitely see that.
That's what it looks like to me. There's gonna be a lot of people disagree with me. I get that because we insist on they're out to get us kind of thing. But,
when it appears as though they're hiding, that it lends to that, which is the problem, which is why transparency would be the solution to this. But I don't know why they don't do that.
We've had those conversations like here in the building saying, you know what, when you're not transparent, people fill in, they backfill in their own narrative.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing both at the local level on some things and the national level on some things. In both of these cases, what you could have is just deeply, darkly disturbed people who just decided to go try to kill.
Which is why I'm really, like I said, interested in seeing what the trial and what comes of all of that and some of the discussions about his mental health.
Right. And especially for the dad as well.
Yes, that's going to be a big one.
Without a doubt. All right. What's the real story on the economy? Are we adding jobs or not? The unemployment rate went down a little bit. What's that actually mean? So we'll talk to our friends at CEI here around 6:35.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL.
To be human after all.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
That there is something about you, baby, so right.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Coming off that outstanding weekend of weather, we begin to warm things up today. Mainly sunny skies, a high around 83 this afternoon. 70s for your evening plans. Humidity still low, so a fairly nice day. Clear tonight, down into the mid-50s in St. Louis early Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday through Thursday, hotter days with highs from the upper 80s to low 90s. Our next chance of rain does not arrive until Thursday night or into Friday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has the solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
The Allman Report.
Hey, Monday on the Allman Report, all the nuttiness from around the weekend as only I can lay it on you. The Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman. Weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
I know a girl, she gets what she wants all the time. 'Cause she's fine.
All right, more jobs and less unemployment. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds great.
Sure, yeah.
But is it true?
What's the full story on the state of the economy right now? It is 6:35 right now. Don't forget News Talk STL. We are going to carry the Trump-Harris debate tomorrow night. Coverage starts at 8 o'clock right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. All right, the latest reports say that the economy added 142,000 jobs, and the unemployment rate went down just a little tick from 4.3 to 4.2 in August. We've got Ryan Young from the Competitive Enterprise Institute with us right now. And Ryan, let me just start off by saying, just in the last couple of weeks or so, we get a major revision on all these job numbers, and they say, oh yeah, we were off by 800 and whatever to 1 million jobs right now. So when we see a report that says 142,000 added in August, pardon me for being a little hesitant to say, well, is that still what you're going to be claiming in a 3 months down the road or 6 months down the road? What actually happened?
I think it'll be pretty close. They do 2 surveys over at the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, and every August on a schedule every year, they make a revision to reconcile the two. One's a survey base that they do every month that's not as precise but gives you a faster picture, and then they do a more thorough survey every 3 months. And of course, because one's more in depth than the other, they don't always agree. So every year they usually correct that by a few 100,000 jobs or so. So I do think you can quibble with the decimal points, as I always do. But I do think the tick down in unemployment is in fact accurate. And frankly, 142,000 jobs per month, that's actually a little slower than population growth. So while it's not the greatest news, it's also not the worst. And I'll take it. I'm frankly more worried about what the Fed's going to do at its interest rate meeting next week.
Speaking of that, Ryan, good morning. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So I was going to ask about the Fed. You know, we're hearing reports, like you said, that they're going to lower interest rates. What should we be expecting of that? What does that indicate for the economy, and how will it affect us?
We should be expecting an interest rate cut. That's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point. The question is it going to be a big cut or a small cut? I think it's fine if they do a small cut, but I'm a little worried if they do a bigger cut, because the Fed has signaled that it's taking its focus off of inflation so it can focus on the labor market. So if anything, politicians really want lower interest rates because that is economic stimulus. It'll lower mortgage rates, lower car payment rates, student loan payment rates, all that stuff. And those rates have been high because it's essentially paying off the inflation tax from the COVID panic. So small interest rate could be a good thing in that case, but I'm a little wary of a big cut because that could be stimulus, which means more stimulus means more inflation.
Yeah, see, and that's what that's one of the things that I think gets lost for those of us who are just kind of economic lay people. Most of the people listening to us right now know more about economics than the average bear out there, Ryan. But at the same time, this gets lost in the weeds, and we say, well, what does it mean? When the experts talk about small versus big rate cuts, but what we're talking about is if these Federal Reserve, nameless, faceless meetings, boardrooms make a decision, it means that how we pay for stuff changes because the cost of it changes based on those decisions. And that's what I think a lot of people need to understand.
Yeah, I mean, the rule of thumb with inflation is more stimulus means more inflation. So in the long run, we need to reduce deficit spending. The Federal Reserve has its independence, but at the same time, when you have a multi-trillion-dollar spending bill like the series of those that we had during the pandemic, no matter what, the Fed more or less has to help finance that. So I'm also a little worried about what Congress is doing now that they're back in session for the election. They're going to try to pass a continuing resolution, and I'm hoping that won't contain any big goodies in there to help get it passed that would cause more inflation with more spending. But we'll see about that. So I think, go ahead.
In an election year, no, that would never happen.
Yeah.
Best answer you could give right there.
Hey, Ryan, good morning. Stal Ponticus here. If there is a change in the interest rates, and from what I've seen lately, are mortgage rates around 6.75 or somewhere in that area? And if they are, do you think it'll help the housing market if there is a change?
The biggest thing that'll help the housing market is to build more housing. That means working with permits and zoning and all that. The Fed can help at the margin. The bigger the rate cut, the more the interest rate cut we'll see in mortgages. But as we can see, the Fed's held interest rates steady for a while, and yet mortgage rates, because of supply and demand forces, have been going down a little bit on their own. What the Fed is going to do next week is going to do a little more on top of that. So whether they do a small cut, which is 1/4 of a percentage point, or a bigger cut, which would be 1/2 a percentage point, either way, I think we'll see a little bit more of the interest rates coming down. But they've also been coming down on their own as well, which is always nice.
Yeah. Okay. So when we look ahead, obviously we can't separate out the politics has an effect on it, unfortunately. But when we look at the next, sets of decisions that they're making, talk a little bit, because you mentioned this just a minute ago, about the moving from focusing on inflation to focusing on, the workforce, and for instance. And so when you're talking about the mortgage rates and everything like that, how does that relate to the workforce itself and the unemployment, and why can't they address both or all at the same time?
That's a good question. The Fed has what they call a dual mandate. Basically means they have two jobs. Job number one, keep inflation low. Job number two, keep unemployment low. The trouble is that these can contradict each other. Like we were just talking about earlier, the Fed wants to boost employment and create more jobs. They can cut interest rates and print more money. The trouble with that is that causes inflation, and that contradicts their keep inflation low mandate. So they can choose one and they can choose the other, but they can't have both. So since COVID, they've been laser focused on inflation. And as much as I criticize the Fed, they've done a pretty good job getting inflation down from 9% down to now a little less than 3%. Still above target, still some work to do, but I think they've done a good job. Now they're taking their eye off the prize because of that 4 months in a row of increasing unemployment until now, where we had just a little tick downward, which is good news. but I'm still worried about what the Fed's going to do, because if it wants to stimulate the economy, that's going to cause more inflation. So I would say that they should leave job creation to the entrepreneurs.
And Ryan, I think it also should be said that because the Fed only has interest rates as their one tool to meet their dual mandate, they're kind of hamstrung, especially if the government is making all of these decisions that also have an effect on job markets and interest rates and inflation.
Well, the Fed has another tool that's actually a lot more powerful. Doesn't get as much press, but they can buy and sell government bonds, and they can do it by the trillions. That's where most of the inflation came from during COVID. They bought up $5 trillion of government bonds. And when they do that, they buy it with money. And unlike you and me, the Fed can buy it with money that they newly create. So they printed, not with the printing press, but with buying and selling bonds, $5 trillion of new money. So ultimately, that tool is a lot more powerful. I'm keeping an eye on what they're doing with that balance sheet. They've been drawing it back from $9 trillion in total to $7 trillion, but they've been doing it more and more slowly. And frankly, more than interest rates, I'm going to keep an eye on what they're going to do with that balance sheet at next week's decision.
I'd go to jail if I tried to buy something in that process.
Oh, using money that you created?
That I printed my own money and then went to buy something.
Yeah,
I would rightfully go to jail. I'm just pointing out. I'm just not commenting on the public policy. I'm just saying, if I did it, I'd go to jail.
Well, speaking of that particular tool, that like I said, I mean, I assumed that their interest rate was the one, and I think a lot of people then, because Mike was talking about, most people don't know as much about the economy here as our listeners do or we do. So the fact that I was not aware of how powerful of a tool that is, shouldn't that get more press?
Yes, it should. Interest rates get pressed because it does directly affect your car payments and mortgage payments and all that. I get that. But that balance sheet manipulation, that affects the price of everything. Groceries, cars and housing as well, everything. So I think that does deserve more press. You're right.
All right. Ryan Young from the Competitive Enterprise Institute. We can see your work and your colleagues' work on this at just CEI.org, right?
That's right, CEI.org.
All right, Ryan, appreciate the update. Good chat with you again.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, just ahead here, we've got some updates for you on what's happening around the area, around the world when it comes to news, including the Gold Star families of the Freedom 13 are going to be honored this week in Washington, D.C. The other thing when it comes to like the Fed and the unemployment and everything, they can only overcome bad politicians' decisions so much.
Well, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Then we got to worry about the Fed getting it right or getting it wrong, which they don't always get it right. So bottom line is, the more we go back to a free market, the better opportunity we have for everybody to flourish. But good Lord, we're in an election year. Government's got to do something for us.
Yes.
Which usually means less free market.
There ought to be a law.
Jeez. I'll be a program.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Why don't you let her go? Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Shut your mouth, she'll freak out.
Hey, want to amaze your friends when they visit? They will be impressed when they see your custom-made drapes, blinds, or shutters. Michael Proctor will personally help you pick out the correct colors to truly showcase your home. Then he will actually design and personally install everything. No overhead markup. That's going to save you a lot of money on drapes, blinds, or shutters.
Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
Hey, Columbo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there's a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency. We're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
All right, we may or we may not vote on Amendment 3 in Missouri after all. I don't know. We will know tomorrow, but I'll tell you why that's in question here in just a moment. We also, a little bit later on today, we have the other perspective regarding the whole controversy surrounding Thrive. We told you on Friday that we have reached out to Thrive after the St. Louis Post-Dispatch published that article. And we talked to one of the pastors of a church that had stopped supporting Thrive because of the accusations against the leadership there. Well, now we have the other side. That's going to happen at 7:35. Okay, just let you know. All right. And a Missouri Gold Star family is among those who will be honored by Congress this week. It is 6:49. Let's dump some news, guys.
Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right, Amendment 3 might not make it onto the ballot in Missouri, although that decision is far from final. But it's going to be final in less than 2 days. It's going to be final sometime tomorrow. On Friday, Judge Christopher Limbaugh ruled that voters were purposely not informed of the current statutes the amendment would overturn. And that is, if that's what happened, that is a violation of state law. Now, the ruling stops short of blocking the measure from the ballot. And that is because Judge Limbaugh gave the pro-abortion supporters time to file an appeal, which they did. There will be a hearing tomorrow morning and a ruling expected sometime tomorrow as well, because tomorrow is the deadline to decide what is actually on the ballot and what is not.
Man. Yeah, we're in a really serious time crunch here, and of course, this judge has given us, a ray of hope, and we're just at this point, it's just a matter of praying and hoping that the next judge in the line, I think the circuit.
This would be an appeals court. It was a circuit, circuit judge that ruled here, and of course, there was another ruling on it from another judge that rewrote the ballot language last week that greatly favors the pro-abortion side, and of course, they've got millions and millions of dollars already that they're trying to that they are going to be using to push this. And so this might be our best chance to keep Missouri pro-life.
Yeah.
It appears that, and also he also ruled that the amendment is unconstitutional, proposed amendment, because it has more than one subject matter on there, which is a violation of the state constitution.
Yeah. So possibly two violations of law. Right. One of the process law and one of the state constitution.
Now, I will tell you that in Missouri, judges are very, very hesitant to take something off the ballot after the signatures have been confirmed for it. So my hope is that they say, well, it violates the statutes, it violates the rules. They haven't done it the right way. You're going to have to try again later. But we'll see what happens. And we're going to know by this time on Wednesday, we're going to know what the ruling is. Okay. Now, in response to the school shooting in Winder, Georgia, 4 people died, 2 students, 2 faculty. Georgia U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock says, you know what? Well, we really need? We need more gun control. This is from NBC's Meet the Press.
14-year-olds don't need AR-15s. And we need to get these military-style weapons off the streets. 87% of Americans, Democrats and Republicans, according to a Fox News report last year, believe that we ought to have universal background checks, and still we can't even get that done in Congress.
I will just say if 87% of Republicans say we need more gun control laws, including universal background checks, then we've got a lot of education on what rights are and what the Second Amendment means to do, including with Republicans.
Yeah, I think the concept or the word universal background check kind of has a solid ring to it. It's like, oh yeah, of course, we don't want random bad people to get guns, but the devil's in the details there.
Call it a universal registration.
There you go.
And see what happens.
Mhm.
Yeah. 14-year-old Colt Gray and his father both charged in those murders. All right, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are doing their last-minute prep for tomorrow's debate.
The two candidates are doing their own thing as the first debate draws near. Since Thursday, Vice President Harris has been prepping with advisors at a downtown Pittsburgh hotel. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign says the former president is not engaged in traditional debate prep, focusing instead on campaign events and interviews. ABC will host the 90-minute debate on Tuesday night at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Okay, two things on that. One, we will be carrying the debate right here on News Talk STL. Coverage starts at 8 p.m. And secondly, if they're going to be at the National Constitution Center, I hope both candidates stop and look around a little bit and learn something.
Yes. The Constitution is kind of important to that job.
Yeah.
A little bit.
That there, I guess.
Yeah, well, there was an interesting story in the New York Times over the weekend about the Constitution, and whoa, is there a problem with the Constitution?
Oh yeah, I saw that. It's like, it's like the sacred law of the land and everything, but is it dangerous?
That's right.
It's like, are you serious? Are you serious right now?
They aren't serious, but in their minds, they're serious.
Yeah.
I saw. And it was funny how there were like those headlines are starting to pop up. There's like a trend. It's almost like there's some kind of coordinated messaging about it.
No way.
No, I don't know.
Gosh,
that would never happen.
No, that wouldn't happen at
Latest NPC download.
Yeah. All right. The families of the Freedom 13 are being honored this week. On Tuesday, each family, and that of course includes the family of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, will be given the Congressional Gold Medal at a ceremony in Washington. Along with the Congressional Medal of Freedom, the Congressional Gold Medal is the oldest and highest civilian award given by Congress. And Speaker Mike Johnson actually was kind of the impetus of getting that done. They aren't the only honorees, but they will be the biggest headlining honorees for that.
Good on them.
All right, House Republicans expanding the investigation into the Biden administration's withdrawal from Afghanistan that led to the lives of those 13 U.S. service members ending. They recently released a report on their findings. Congressman Michael Waltz, a Republican out of Florida, was on Fox News Live saying this withdrawal was more than just about what happened in that moment.
Afghanistan was the spark that lit the fuse on the chaos that we're seeing around the world, because it sent a message that America was in retreat. America would abandon its allies.
The State Department says they put out a statement that Republicans produced a narrative, and I'm quoting here, meant only to harm the administration instead of seeking to actually inform Americans on how our longest war came to an end.
Oh yeah, so it's our narrative. We're the one who created the pictures of a C-17 trying to get off the tarmac while a whole bunch of guys are grabbing onto it, hoping to escape the hellhole we were going to leave behind. Oh yeah, we created the narrative that there were hundreds of Americans left behind with no hope of leaving, trapped by a Taliban that has a list that we gave them.
We gave them. Precisely.
Oh yeah, we made all that up.
We literally handed the Taliban, in addition to all the weapons and vehicles, we literally handed them a list of the Americans who were still in Afghanistan. Just unreal. A public memorial service is set for Ted Drewes Jr. this coming weekend.
Okay.
Drewes died at the age of 96 last week. Of course, you've heard that. The service happens this coming Saturday, which is the 14th. That starts at 11 a.m. at the Chapel of St. Timothy and St. Titus in St. Louis. All right, no games for the Cardinals. No game for the Cardinals today. They lost to the Mariners at Busch Stadium on Sunday. They ended up losing the series to them as well, and I think that was 2-1 that they lost that series. Final score yesterday was 10-4, so the Cardinals have a day off today. I believe it's the Reds coming into town. They have another homestand starting tomorrow at Busch Stadium. It is the Reds, yes. The Redbirds remain 10 games behind the Brewers. They remain in third place. Cubs, I think, are 9 games back, so they're very, very close between second and third place. The last place team is only 15 games back, so there's the Brewers, and then there's everybody else in the division. The Cardinals' best chance to make it to the playoffs right now would be the wild card. They are 6 games out of the wild card spot.
Man, they'd have to go on a tear to make that
I was
up.
going to say doable. Yes, there's like 19 games left in the season, so it's doable.
But there's 3 teams ahead of them, which makes it even tougher. You got the Cubs, the Braves, and the Mets.
Yeah, and the Braves and Mets in particular, I don't see the Cardinals catching them. I just don't see it. Not with those two for sure.
News, analysis, opinion.
Day one, it's going to be about implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy.
Where has she been for 3.5 years?
We can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning fracking.
Kamala's website is all vibes, no policy.
I'm not going to vote for a wall under any circumstances.
Campaign aides say Kamala now wants to build the wall.
101.9 and 94.1.
My values have not changed.
News Talk STL.
St. Louis is number 1
for conservative talk.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Attention St. Louis. The Republican Central Committee invites you to the annual Lincoln Reagan Days dinner. Join us Saturday, October 5th at the River City Casino for an evening of inspiration and insight with this year's special keynote speaker, J.J. Carell, retired U.S. Border Patrol, who served under Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from a true expert in border security. For details and tickets, visit newstalkstl.com. KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. It is a showdown, could have a big impact on the presidential race. Tomorrow night's the night, Philadelphia the place, as Donald Trump and Kamala Harris debate. Our White House correspondent Greg Clutson says that candidates are employing markedly different strategies as they prepare.
The two candidates are doing their own thing as the first debate draws near. Since Thursday, Vice President Harris has been prepping with advisors at a downtown Pittsburgh hotel. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign says the former president is not engaged in traditional debate prep, focusing instead on campaign events and interviews. ABC will host the 90-minute debate on Tuesday night at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Accusing the Biden administration of disinformation of lying to the American people, House Republicans have now issued a report on their investigation of the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. On it goes, a manhunt for a suspect in a series of shootings along I-75, a stretch of the high Kentucky. 12 vehicles hit by gunfire, 5 people hurt. London, Kentucky's Mayor Randall Weddle says that searchers have their work cut out for them.
That is some rugged terrain and a lot of tree lines. If you guys know the northern part of our county, it just is what it is. But I'm confident they will apprehend them. We are asking everybody in the city of Lemons to be vigilant and know what your surroundings. If you're home, Keep your doors locked.
They're hunting for a suspect identified as Joseph Crouch, in connection with the shootings. Some roads have been closed and there have been evacuations. Firefighters battle a fierce wildfire. It's burning in the foothills of a national forest east of Los Angeles. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures are higher. Dow futures up 265. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Hear that? The sound of adorable little birds in your garden. And if you were here, you'd taste the 2 sweet but tiny tomatoes you grew all by yourself. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens when you're riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive on your way to the store for a pack of normal-sized tomatoes. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without getting your hands dirty. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Coming off that outstanding weekend of weather, we begin to warm things up today. Mainly sunny skies, a high around 83 this afternoon. 70s for your evening plans. Humidity still low, so a fairly nice day. Clear tonight, down into the mid-50s in St. Louis early Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday through Thursday, hotter days with highs from the upper 80s to low 90s. Our next chance of rain does not arrive until Thursday night or into Friday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Triple dog Darian.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, what do you think, guys? Is the anti-woke backlash just a fad, or is it correcting a really bad fad?
Okay,
in our country.
I think it's still going pretty strong.
Yeah, because a lot of times we'll see a backlash and it kind of peters out after a while.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of like what Bud Light was banking on.
Mm-hmm.
And now all these companies are looking around going, this is still going on like a year and a half later.
Mm-hmm.
Of not just Bud Light, but a lot of others. Interesting article in Newsmax on this. 7:06 right now. Got Gabe here, got Stell here. I'm Mike. Don't forget, News Talk STL's app. If you haven't already downloaded it, please check that out and download that. For instance, we are going to be carrying the debate tomorrow night. So you can take that with you anywhere else, anywhere that you would like. So that is free. Whatever type of phone you got, we're in the App Store. Just look up News Talk STL, all one word. Joined now by Craig Rucker from CFACT, which we had Craig on before. And we'll get to what CFACT does here in just a minute. But you're actually quoted in this Newsmax article I just referenced, Craig, and it's written by Lee Barney, and it's anti-woke backlash is just getting started. And see, that's what I think a lot of people, Craig, would maybe raise their eyebrow a little bit, because we kind of celebrate some victories when the woke backlash thing happens and a couple companies back off a little bit. But what the article is arguing is that this entire backlash isn't just a flash in the pan, that there's actually momentum still building. And so you're quoted in that. Kind of describe what your take is on this, so people can look that up for themselves.
Well, good morning, and thanks for having me on your program again. I represent a group called CFACT, and we've been working principally on issues trying to push back against a lot of the green environmental woke stuff on climate change and other, some of the stuff Greta Thunberg and them have done to push climate alarmism. But we ally with others that take on some of the social issues, groups like the National Legal Policy Center and the National Center for Public Policy Research. And I would say much of what's been done by the consumers against, let's say, Target, which cost them $10 billion when they started getting into things like gay pride and transgender and all that sort of thing. And then you had, of course, the Bud Light backlash that cost them like $30 billion. These were done spur of the moment, kind of by regular folks, just turning their backs on some of the companies and costing them dearly. But it hasn't been organized on those who are from the liberty movement, kind of the free market, conservative, libertarian type perspective. But we've been getting together since that and have bought shares, for example, in some of these major companies, and have been going to these meetings and confronting some of the big boys who are running these companies, people like the Jamie Dimons, and Larry Finks from BlackRock and others, and actually making an impact. And I would say that most of these initiatives that have come up in the last couple years at their shareholder meetings, where those on the far left, the green left in particular, have put in resolutions to try to push the company leftward, have all failed. And they continue to fail. So I think that much of their early success was a result of our side just not playing ball.
Good morning, Craig. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So how much of this backlash do you think, or the success of the backlash, is being driven by individuals or maybe, the people who are kind of exposing what's going on here? I'm reminded of Robbie Starbuck. I don't know if you've seen him and what he's been doing.
Chris Rufo was another. Yeah.
Chris Rufo is another. And what they do is they kind of lift the veil on what the training is like underneath. And then that kind of scares a lot of these boards into compliance.
And I think that's exactly what happened. I'm not entirely sure that a lot of the companies necessarily want to go this way, but there's pressures being put on them through things called, for example, one of them's ESG, Environmental Social Governance Criteria, something the Biden administration embraced, but many in Europe have as well. And for companies to get good credit scores to help their ratings in the stock market and that, they have to showcase that they're doing things along these criteria. And these criteria would be things like, they're doing with the, transgender community. Are they using unions? Are they taking into account the emissions of the products that are coming up that are climate friendly? And if they get a good ESG score, that helps them financially. So, putting on the right commercials and doing things of that is kind of what they've been doing. But I'm not sure that it's more a response to external pressure. And when people show up at their board meetings or they hear from the public going the other way, I think a good many of them, not all of them, but a good many of them would just as soon drop this whole thing and get back to the business of just earning their shareholders a good profit and making good products.
Now, one of the things that I think might be driving this as well, and I want to get your opinion on it, is that there are a lot of also these young college graduates who end up in these marketing departments and HR departments, and they are fully indoctrinated into leftist dogma, and they think that their position is a platform for them to affect leftist protests, essentially, or leftist corrective actions on the society. What do you think of that idea?
There's no question that's the case. A lot of them do get that, and the companies have made positions to hire people like that. However, if the priorities change, and you do see this from time to time, take, for example, BlackRock, which a few years ago was touting all about ESG. Now you have Larry Fink publicly coming out against it. Same with State Street, which touted it very big a few years ago. They both left Climate Action 100 Plus, which was this big initiative put on by the UN to push climate in the corporate community. And them, as well as a number of others, have all bailed on it. Hence, all the jobs that these young people came in that they took up in order to try to push this stuff, they lost their jobs, a good many of them. So I agree with you, they're hiring them, but I think they're hiring them and their positions are tenuous if, in fact, the companies can be persuaded that their shareholders don't accept that. And, time will tell whether or not this is something that is sustained or not. I think also complementing this, by the way, is that the conservative side has actually been able to work in the red states. And give an example of that was 20-some state treasurers banded together and divested themselves of their pension funds having anything to do with BlackRock. So they lost a lot of money. And as a result of that, you saw them also change their behavior. And now you got them talking like, ESG goes too far. They're withdrawing from certain things. Again, we're not out of the woods, but I think there is some progress. And my hope is that we can continue it.
Good morning, Craig. Stal-Pontic is here. So you mentioned, of course, the DEI and ESG issues, and you've got companies besides Target and Bud Light. You also got Disney and Tractor Supply and John Deere and Harley Davidson, and one that's kind of dear to my heart that I'm having trouble accepting, but I have not gone there since I heard about this, and that's Dunkin' Donuts. And Dunkin' has yeah, I know that that hurts. But Dunkin' says they will not advertise on any conservative outlet. Can you speak to that a little bit regarding that situation?
Well, I don't know. I couldn't give you any specifics on the Dunkin' Donut one, but yes, a number of them have also dropped. Of course, Dish, DirecTV have dropped conservative outlets like Newsmax and OAN and others in many cases. So I do see that continuing for a while. Again, we've only begun. So they've had a big start. The whole ESG initiative and the DEI initiative, I think, started back in the early 2000s under Kofi Annan's administration at the UN, when they internationally they were pushing this stuff. And as bad as we have it in the US, it's even worse in Europe and Australia and other places. We were slow to coming to the table. And of course, this is where I think the resistance is the strongest, is in the United States. But we're starting, and I think with due diligence and work on our part, and hopefully with a good election result coming up, we can maybe change some of the people in the FTC and in other places to actually impact the direction of corporate America, which has obviously been targeted by the left.
Okay, so I want to follow up on that real quick, and I know we just have a couple minutes left here. We're visiting with Craig Rucker from CFACT. You just mentioned Europe's been on this before we have. They are out there. So logically, you look at Europe and say, well, what could be coming to the United States if we go down this path? In Europe, you can literally be arrested for posting something on social media that isn't affirming to a gender confused person. There are people who have been charged and arrested and have gone to jail for quote unquote misgendering a man who thinks he's a woman when you actually got it right and the man gets it wrong. So if people say, well, are we just fighting over what private companies do? Because, you talked about the freedom movement, conservative libertarian. That's me. I mean, that's what you described, Craig. But when we look at what's down the road, if we keep in this path, that's where a culture ends up, or at least that's one of the next steps, isn't it?
It is. I do think that they're getting sick and tired of it, even in Europe. We do a lot of international work. We held a climate realism conference in Austria earlier this year. I'm going to be going to Azerbaijan and Baku for the next climate change. We've been starting to monitor these things more and more. and making ties with some international organizations. The election results for the EU Parliament elections just a few months ago saw a big boost to the UK Independence Party, to the more conservative parties in France and in Germany. So we're making some inroads there. And I think with all the farmer protests that went on earlier this year, starting some of this woke stuff, some of this climate crazy stuff, and people are responding. But yes, they were unopposed for a long time. It's tougher to get the message out there. And they have a lot more obstacles than we do in the United States, that we still remain the best beacon of freedom in the world.
All right. And Craig, people want to learn more about CFACT. They do it where?
They can read about all these and many more issues at cfact.org. That's CFACT.org.
All right. We'll talk to you again soon, Craig. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. By the way, these woke companies, they're back in the news after a Kamala Harris campaign visit.
Oh, yeah.
That's
right.
Can I tell you that to some degree, when you look at like the Bud Lights and the Target, we need to step up and push back because there's more at stake than just what they have in their businesses. I mean, we're talking about cultures and norms and the next generation, and we need to fight that out in the free market.
Yes.
But I'm really tired of everything being political.
Oh, you're going to spice things up here, aren't you?
I totally am. Boom. Hey, there it is. He'll be here all week. You're here all week, right?
Well, for now.
He'll be here all week. Right here on 101.9 and 91 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, Mike Ferguson in the morning.
America Decides 2024.
The Trump-Harris debate is Tuesday night.
It'll be an interesting evening.
And you can hear it live here, beginning at 8.
We have the momentum.
Your home for America Decides 2024. News Talk STL.
What's the key to maximizing the value of your outdoor space? Satisfaction. And getting a fence or deck that exceeds expectations with the highest quality, American-made material. And working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. And adding safety and security for your family and pets to play, relax, and entertain. At STL Fenceworks, satisfaction is our core value. Doing it right the first time, standing above the competition. At STLFenceworks.com, your satisfaction is our passion.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb.
I just like this song. Hold on for a second. That's right.
Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running.
Smash Mouth?
It is Smash Mouth and All Star.
That's right.
Big hit for them.
It was in a movie too. I forgot which movie it was in.
It was.
I can't remember. They use it in a lot of movies, actually.
Yeah.
It
Shrek.
feels,
it was in the Shrek.
Feels like
Shrek. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Everything's political now. Everything, including the seasoning on your food, apparently. Thanks, Kamala.
Gosh.
All right. By the way, just ahead here, 7:35. Hear the other side of the conflict over Thrive and its leadership.
Mm-hmm. I'm going.
I'm going to go into more detail on this. I'm not done talking to people. I got a lot of more information over the weekend. We're receiving more information now as well. And so we talked to a pastor of one of the churches that has, I guess at the very least, paused their support of Thrive. I don't know if they're going to go back or not. You can hear that in our podcast. Just go to newstalkstl.com. Or you just subscribe to the podcast and you can find that, because apparently that discussion really made the rounds over the weekend. And so we're going to talk to somebody with another side of it just ahead here. Apparently Kamala Harris went to Penzeys Spices, I guess somewhere in Pennsylvania, on her thing, and made a big deal of going to Penzeys. Now, first of all, if you're not familiar with Penzeys Spices, there's a Penzeys in Maplewood. I don't know if there's any others around here, because there's one near my house. I walked right by it the other day getting lunch on Friday. Treated myself to lunch after the show. Penzeys hates Republicans.
Yes, openly so.
Oh, they literally have a page on their business website that's called About Republicans. I'm not making that up.
We actually spoke about this when it happened, when they brought that up, because it was like, wait a sec, what is happening right now? Because this was amid the COVID craziness. I think that they really came out this way.
Yeah,
because they said we're killing them, basically.
Right,
we're killing the world.
And then they tried to say, you know what? Some of you people are good people, but you've just decided to go off and become evil, horrible, murderous monsters, whatever. They write them in different words than that on their website.
There's two of them, by the way, one by you and one in Chesterfield.
Oh, okay. All right. One very blue area, one fairly red area. That's interesting. So Penzeys made it very clear, and they have no problem. They even said, when somebody questioned them about that, they said, well, if you're a Republican, maybe you'd be more comfortable buying from somewhere else. So they actually literally do not want your business. I don't know how you survive by telling 40 some odd % of the country, F you, which is essentially what they do.
What they did.
But on a bigger picture than that, there are some companies that have just gone so far that I will not reward them with my money. There are some things like businesses that I get emailed that do public relations and they're pitching guests. And for instance, if you email me and I see you have pronouns in your signature,
oh yeah,
you're not getting a return email or phone call. I don't care what it is that you're pitching to me.
Yeah, you've automatically lost a lot of respect from me if you buy into that.
But you won't even find out why. You will not. I just delete. You're not worth it. But here's the thing: is I can't keep a spreadsheet of all of the offending businesses out there. Otherwise, I would never be able to buy anything. But some just go too far. I'm like, all right, that's enough.
Right.
Starbucks sets up a fund to fund abortions and gender mutilation surgeries for their employees. They're a private business. This is all for adults. They're free to do that, but I'm free to not give them my money too. And so my wife, who used to be an absolute Starbucks enthusiast, we now don't do that, and we just like, it's just too far. Even if like an ownership is, if they're on the left or they're proud Democrats or whatever, just sell me stuff. I need stuff. You need my money. We'll make a transaction. That's what it's all about. But when you go out of your way to tell me that you hate me or to stand for things that are evil, then I am going to reevaluate what I'm contributing to and what I'm not. Somewhere's a gray area in there, Gabe, between that and like becoming the political Karen that wants to tell everybody what to do. Listen, if I don't know how you vote and you vote differently than me, I'm still going to probably buy something from your store.
I have to wonder if there's an equivalent on the right. Are there like right-leaning stores who are openly saying, you know what, if you vote Democrat or if you are a liberal, if you believe in the rainbow craziness or if you believe in blah, 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 don't come to our store, don't buy our stuff. I don't see that on a wide range and a wide way, the way we see it from the left.
I maybe there's a business out there that does that, but back to that conversation with Craig Rucker, it's that there's this cultural expectation, and you touched on it to some degree, is you've now got basically a lot of the middle management who are in their 30s, 40s, who have come up during their formative years, and they've come into the woke and this is real and everything is about politics and everything's about your platform. I'm really, really sick of it. I mean, if I started a business, I mean, I have a business with my syndicated show, but if I had like a brick and mortar or an online business, or, like for instance, you started a business with pet supplies.
Yeah. For a while there.
But you didn't say Gabe's Conservative Pet Supplies.
No.
Your gay dog can go die.
I never said
you
that.
Didn't
actually,
do that.
Actually, I was trying to appeal to the gay dogs because they like all of the very expensive sweaters that we were
fashionable.
They're very fashionable, very fashionable. No, but it always surprised me that people like the dillweeds over at the Penzi Spices.
Yeah,
see what I did there?
I saw what you did there. Yeah, exactly.
They are so open in their disdain. It's one thing to say, you know what, we take a certain stand privately or what have you, and it's another to say we're going to forego taking your money for our goods because of our principles. It's so weird. It reminds me of back in the day, they tried to pin down Michael Jordan about some issue.
Yes, this was great.
It was a perfect response because again, it was sort of the attack was coming from the left. It's like, how can you do business with X, Y, and Z, or how can you appeal to this thing? And aren't you afraid of, it's one of those stupid leading questions. And he said, look, Republicans buy sneakers too.
That's right.
And it's a pretty basic concept. I'm in business. Why would I cut off my nose to spite my face that way?
And besides shoes, underwear.
Okay.
Remember those Michael Jordan?
Hanes.
That's right.
Hanes underwear.
Hanes was a big deal too. That's right.
Because thanks to Michael Jordan, we don't have tags on the back of our t-shirts anymore.
That's right.
God bless you, Michael Jordan.
Yes, he did that. That's right.
Now here's I know we just got a couple minutes left here. But like for instance, Rachel and I we were in, was it Maplewood or Webster Grove? One of those notoriously deep blue areas, right? And we go into some little cafe coffee shop, and we're like, oh, this, we've eaten here before, it's fine. And we walk in, and there is just like trans stuff everywhere.
Oh boy.
Flags, signs, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, what the hell happened here? And she goes, well, that's just what they believe. And I'm like, why are we about to give them money?
Right.
And so she went, you're right. There's plenty of other places we can go. You know, I mean, and I've had people say, well, you're punishing the employees. Well, the employees need to turn to the boss and go, hey, I'm losing hours because people aren't buying stuff. You think this might have something to do with it? Now, in Maplewood, we're going to be the exception to the rule because they're so like crazy hippie left.
I guess they can live on
they can get
money.
by on that. But Penzi Spice is literally making part of their business platform. We don't like you if you are not far left. You should go buy somewhere else. Well, listen to them do it.
Yeah.
And we had talked last week about the situations with families having different segments of the family against each other with the Tim Walsh's family and RFK's family, et cetera. Well, the same situation exists here because there's a spice shop in Milwaukee, which I think is where Penzi's was founded originally. That's, I think, run by his sister, and it's called the Spice Shop.
Okay.
And it's obviously nothing to do with Penzi's, and she's totally a conservative, and it's the one shop there in Milwaukee. You can buy stuff by mail from them, and I didn't investigate the website to see if there's anything that was totally Republican on there, but my guess is there's a family rift there, and she's probably pretty ticked off at the other side.
What was was it Goya Foods? The guy who owns Goya Foods,
that's right,
said something positive about Trump, and he got recognized by Trump, and the left lost their flipping minds.
They sure did.
They lost their tacos.
They lost their tacos. But here's the thing: is he also had a relationship with Barack Obama.
Yeah.
And, had worked with him. And he said, I'm trying to get good pro-business public policy.
Right. This is supposed to be good for everybody, right?
Right. And we have to politicize everything.
Yeah.
We don't.
No, please stop.
Yeah, because I don't want to not come and buy your stuff. But you got to go pretty far for me to go, you can keep your crazy to yourself. Or just your hatred for yourself. I don't think people at Penzi's are crazy. I just think they're full of hate.
Yeah.
All right. Just ahead here, another tough conversation. All right. This whole thing with Thrive is dividing a lot of people.
And it's ongoing.
It's ongoing. And so we're going to get another perspective from what we had on Friday. We're already getting some questions like coming in on Rumble chat box and some others as well on this. A lot of people are taking this very, very personally because a lot of people have been hurt in a very deep level. So here's my promise to you. The conversation that we're about to have is not going to be a surface level one where we're just trying to pat everybody on the head and get everybody to sing Kumbaya. We need to resolve what's happening so that we can get back to the focusing on the life-saving work that needs to happen. We're going to do that around 7:34.
The way I like it and I'll never get bored. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Coming off that outstanding weekend of weather, we begin to warm things up today. Mainly sunny skies, a high around 83 this afternoon. 70s for your evening plans. Humidity still low, so a fairly nice day. Clear tonight, down into the mid-50s in St. Louis early Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday through Thursday, hotter days with highs from the upper 80s to low 90s. Our next chance of rain does not arrive until Thursday night or into Friday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
Larry Connor's commentary brought to you by Vincent Jewelers. Vincent's has raised almost $2 million for local charities. Give Vincent's a chance to earn your business. Check for daily specials at vincentjewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
As sad as it is, there are some who wish the assassin trying to kill Trump had been successful. Right after that near miss, some haters got on their social media machines, cranking out jokes, encouragement for future shooters to be more accurate. This is today's society. Not all of society, but enough of them that it creates a legitimate scare. And to be fair, some want death and disaster for Biden, Harris, and Walz. Do you know someone filled with that kind of hate, rage? I don't, but if I did and they had a friendship, it would be over. I'd be looking to see if they had plans to carry out a deadly crime. Do you remember comedian Kathy Griffin? Funny, appeared on Seinfeld a few times, but her hate for Trump was so powerful, she thought it'd be funny to have a picture of her holding Trump's head as if it were decapitated. Recently, she tweeted, someone should stab Trump with a needle full of air. Air pumped into the bloodstream can be fatal. Just the threat against Trump is a federal crime, much less violating social policies. But so far, nothing has been done. So far.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
My sponsor, Wellington Environmental, has helped thousands deal with hazardous materials. Hospitals, offices, schools, even homes. Here's something new. Wellington now offers dustless blasting. This is just like sandblasting, but without all the dust and emissions. Wellington uses everything from ground glass, walnuts, corn, even dry ice pellets. One university had Wellington remove their parking lot striping because dustless blasting is fast and it does not damage the concrete. So as a business or homeowner, I'm sure you could use this process. Industrial tanks, swimming pools, graffiti on buildings. And in fact, Wellington is blasting a Texaco station that will be revised as an historic building. Check the website for details and photos. WellingtonSTL.com. WellingtonSTL.com.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty.
The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Little Striper coming to town November 4th.
Nice.
At the Hawthorne, which is in the city.
I think it's
I'm not familiar with the venue.
I think it's on Grand.
I was going to say Washington,
Maybe
but you might be right.
In that area.
Yeah.
In that area. All right. So apparently our discussion on Friday regarding the news about Thrive. When I say the news about Thrive, there was that big article that the St. Louis Post-Dispatch posted on Thursday. My understanding is that it was supposed to be in the print edition yesterday, but I haven't seen the print edition yet.
Okay.
I don't know. So if you're at Breadco, probably saw it.
If there's a Sunday edition left somewhere, because they usually pick them up pretty quick in the morning when they bring in the new ones.
My understanding is that was the plan, but it was published on Thursday, and that created a lot of discussion. And of course, on Friday, we had Pastor Bond from Liberty Church, which is one of the churches that has stepped back and withheld their support from Thrive over accusations against Thrive's leadership, specifically against Bridget Van Means, basically arguing that there's a toxic workplace. I mean, they're accusing her of being a mean boss. I mean, I don't want to simplify it too much, but that's where we're at. By the way, real quick here, don't forget News Talk STL. We are going to be airing the debate tomorrow. We are going to have the coverage of that debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris starting at 8 p.m. right here, 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. All right, I'm joined right now by Pastor Duane Manuel from Radiant Church, and I appreciate you being on. But let me just kind of set this discussion up the exact same way that I set it up on Friday with Pastor Bond. What I do not want to do is create two different sides that are going to battle against each other. We should not be doing this in the media. We just should not. But the Post-Dispatch has the article. So if it's going to happen in public, then at least let's have it in a venue where, conservatives and pro-life and we can hash this out amongst, the greater, life-saving family that's out there. And a couple things I want to remind everybody. Bridget Van Means has not been accused of anything illegal. She has not been accused of anything that was from a business or financial perspective unethical. There are no accusations of that whatsoever. And so what we're talking about is accusations of something that's behavioral. So Pastor Manuel was connected to me, and we're told you're a supporting pastor of Thrive. So I appreciate you being on here. But give me your, whether you agree with my framing or not. I think it's unfortunate that we're even doing this. I mean, yes, there's a lot of interest in it. There's a lot of raw emotions, and we now have to deal with what's happening. But the point is we need to get past this so we can focus on the life-saving work that Thrive has become known for. But here we are nonetheless. I mean, I'll say it to you just like I did with Pastor Bond. This will be the first time I've ever spoken with you. And I wish I weren't. I'm sure you're a great guy. I'm sure your church, but I'm really sorry that this is what we have to do right now.
Yes, Mike, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, well let's get into what's happening here. And I understand that Bridget's not doing some media right now, and I have not had a chance to speak with anybody who's on the board. My understanding is you used to be on the board, but you're not anymore here. When you hear these accusations, and I've read the statements, and I know that a number of churches have been trying to, and supporters, not just churches, have been trying to be in touch with the board of directors and with Bridget to rectify some of these things. What is it that you're assessing the conflict as far as what needs to be dealt with, and how bad is it at this point? Basically, where do we go from here?
Well, I think it's really important, Mike, is to get this from the perspective of an insider such as myself, someone who has been on the board. I've been a donor since 2011, and I have firsthand experience really just watching up close. And when I see the staff, President Van Means, I've never seen a more unbelievable group of people in business or church working effectively. And I really just truly have to say, I mean, just off the bat, that these claims are categorically false. I have been there. I've seen President Van Means in very challenging situations. I've never seen a more kind and compassionate person. I've never witnessed probably a more strategic and kind and bold leader than President Van Means, someone who's always full of faith. Her faith has shaped Thrive over 15 years. I mean, we really have to step back and think that she took a PRC that was about to fail, and she has transformed it into the top organization that any of us have seen in this movement. And that can't happen in a toxic environment. And so I think there's no way you can separate the effectiveness of President Van Means and the success of Thrive and her recognized leadership of making Missouri an abortion-free state. So there's absolutely no way that you can separate her work and the results of Thrive. And I think we have to get that really clear. And I think one thing that's very important, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Pastor Vaughn, no one at all questioned the effectiveness of Thrive. So I think that we have to realize that Thrive is an effective ministry, an effective organization. The reality is that Bridget is extremely dynamic and powerful. She's a vital voice in the pro-life movement. And when we see her moving and being launched into the national scene, we have to realize that she was going to get attacked. And I think that's one thing that we have to really step back and realize, is that these attacks should not surprise us. With the success of Thrive, everyone knew that a large-scale attack was inevitable, and now it's here. I actually remember sitting in a board meeting, and they were going to say that there was going to be an attack, and what would we do? And how should we make sure that we have all of the safeguards in place to make sure that we are an upstanding organization? And I think it's really important. 2024, I mean, this is a really critical year for Missouri. The purpose of Amendment 3 is to undo all the work that we've done as Missourians, and that's to undo the Missouri miracle, where we are the first abortion-free state. And so this group, we have to step back and really think about it. They approached a pro-abortion newspaper. They sought the pro-abortion health writer to make a hit piece, not only on Thrive, but every PRC and the whole life-affirming movement. So they've not only attempted to hurt President Van Means, they've harmed every life-affirming listener in Missouri. So all of us have to ask, why should supposed pro-lifers turn to Planned Parenthood allies for help to produce an article that threatens all the pro-life work? And that's the question that we struggle with.
Good morning, Duane. Gabe Pfeiffer here. Just wanted to get an idea of how deep in the situation you are in. So it sounds right now like you haven't had a chance to talk to anybody who says that they were affected or says that they have some sort of beef with Bridget, or it doesn't sound as though you've read any of the accounts or believe any of the accounts at this point.
Yeah, I mean, have you spoken with the people who were saying, hey, this was a toxic workplace? This was, I mean, the accusations against her. Have you spoken with those people?
Yes, I actually have spoken with some of them, even in times when things were going extremely well. And I have read every single one of the accounts, and I've had the ability to look through all of the very emotionalized and triggering language and really see that something isn't adding up here. So, I've actually been involved, and I have actually wanted to participate in mediation, but those have been declined by the other side.
Oh, okay. So, because that doesn't line up with what a lot of the accusations are, and then let me just put it out there because listen, these are we've said on the show a number of times. I don't know if you listen or not, but we have the tough conversations here. The argument that we're being told by some of the churches in particular is that instead of accepting mediation, they sent cease and desist letters, which is what Pastor Bond told us on Friday. And I would say our email and messages and my text, my phone is blowing up over the past few days over this. People take this very, very personally, and I'm glad people are so passionate about getting the work of Thrive back done, because nobody is arguing at how many lives are saved. That's why we've been such big supporters at this radio station, which is why I think there's probably a lot of people really angry right now when they heard you say that this was an attack by people who are supposedly pro-life. Well, these people are pro-life. They're part of it. We've got a conflict to deal with. I mean, we're not cheapening what the accusations are we?
No, I think it is important to step back and really think about if there's someone who says that they want to help us, and that's how they first approached this. They said they wanted to help Thrive and make sure that we were a healthy organization. And they said that they were doing this because they loved us. But I think it's very, very difficult when we get to this endpoint and they go to really the ultimate enemy of the whole pro-life movement in order to destroy us. So I struggle that when someone says that they love us and they want to help us, but when we don't do exactly what they want in the terms that they want, that they're willing to harm us. And that's a very, very scary place. And we've seen that pattern from the beginning. And so they've never asked for any form of mediation. I think that's what's really important. They've never asked for any form of biblical mediation.
Let me jump in. You're talking about the employees, or you're talking about the different churches? Because the different churches are saying just flat out the opposite. They're saying we've asked for an independent investigation. We've asked for mediation.
Well, I think that's really important to ask the question, what is an independent investigation? And I think we have to really step back and from the beginning, we do have to realize that they had threatened harm to the organization, and a third-party investigation, there was no real clarity on what that would look like. Numerous times, we reached out to ask to do a Matthew 18 process. And even Bridget asked that, and she's still open to reconciliation. That is her heart, is reconciliation. So I think if people saw the actual letters that were written to us and really dissected them, they might be able to see the undercurrent. And for me, it almost doesn't surprise me. I wonder if we would have done exactly what they wanted if there still would have been a St. Louis Post-Dispatch article.
Okay, so and now we're a little bit over time here, but then you mentioned reconciliation. What solves the problem right now? Because I asked that question on Friday. The answer was there needs to be a change in leadership is what we were told from the person who disagrees with you. What, in your view, resolves this, reconciles this, so the focus can be back on, saving as many lives as possible, which Thrive has been so effective at?
Right now, it really is going to come down to being able to pray. And I think that's the heart of what we wanted to communicate as Thrive, is that this needs prayer, and there are really significant priorities in this. I think the first thing that we do need to do is pray for this group, that they would, that we would be able to see a come together. However, there's significant real impact that we've seen. I think the next thing is to pray for Bridget and Thrive. They're doing this and they're handling it very, very well. But I think it's one of those things that they're focused on serving the community, and they are still continuing the work. But I think right now, and I think this is probably the most important thing, is that we need to pray and fast about this Amendment 3. And I think if there's anything that drive really wants us to do is to focus on Amendment 3 right now. I mean, it's all hands on deck. Amendment 3 is designed to destroy every PRC in Missouri. And so every life-affirming group needs to work together to pray this amendment off the ballot and to make sure it's defeated for good. And so I asked that if you could pray, we could just pray for Amendment 3. I think that's going to be the most important, because the ramifications of that last well beyond this situation that we have right now.
All right, we're a little bit over time, Pastor Manuel, Pastor from Radiant Church, Duane Manuel. Appreciate you being on the program. We're going to post this as a podcast as well, so people can listen to that as well and share that. All right, well, thank you so much for the perspective. A lot of different perspectives on it. So we will talk to you possibly again soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you. God bless you.
All right, guys. I know we have an information segment right here. Let's just reflect on this. The thing that I wrote for the 50 segment,
yeah,
toss it.
All right. All right.
Let's talk about this just ahead here. 119-94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I am an atheist. I really am a liberal, but I'm also a conservative.
No matter your side.
I'm a Democrat. I'm just a bit angry, frustrated conservative.
No matter your inclination.
I'm probably a liberal, maybe more in the middle.
We are here for your place to talk about it.
I'm the progressive liberal Democrat that you said is afraid to call you.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
I'm sure we'll have a robust conversation.
News Talk STL.
All right, time to look at getting your home ready for winter. And that doesn't just mean changing the filters and all that kind of stuff. You need to look at your windows. How much money are you losing by your home not being energy efficient? We're finally getting some crisp weather, and I love it. My favorite time of the year. But right after my favorite time of the year comes my least favorite time of the year, which is snow, ice, wind, cold, and all that kind of stuff that makes me wish I lived in Florida. That, and they don't have personal income taxes, but that's a whole other thing. All right, so give my friends at Window World a call, 314-993-1800. Let them come take a look at your home. One of the things that Window World's windows are so valuable is that they are so energy efficient. These are double strength glass windows. These are custom made for your home. These are made in America, by the way. And they are so energy efficient that even when the new Energy Star standards came out, the brand new ones, we're talking like not even a year ago, Window World windows already surpassed those. They are already to the point where they are beyond even the Energy Star standings. What that means is that the window, the furnace, the fireplace, whatever heats your home, that heat stays in your home during the winter. And that air conditioning stays in your home during the summer, and you're not sending that money out the window, kind of literally. You think about it. You go by your front door, you go by your windows, and you feel that little bit of a breeze, and you just know that's costing you a little bit of money. Okay, maybe not a big deal in that moment, but when you look at weeks and months of cold air and warm air throughout the year, going back and forth, your furnace is working harder, your air conditioning is working harder. Costs are going up every year when it comes to energy. So this is a great investment in your home and protecting your family because they're double strength glass, and also they're protecting your wallet by making your home more energy efficient. Call them today. Get that free in-home estimate, 314-993-1800. Say, hey, Mike was talking big about you guys. Put them to the test. That's what they want. And by the way, you're talking to a business right here in St. Louis. They love to come out, show you what they can do, take those measurements, give you a quote. And then again, and this is so important, they don't do the arm twisting thing. They don't do the high pressure thing. They don't expect that you're going to sign a contract when you're there. They just want to show you what they can do, and then it's all on your time. You should comparison shop. You should look at the reviews. You should find out what their reputation is. Matter of fact, over 70,000 customers in St. Louis alone over the past 20 years. So give them a call, find out what they can do, find out this is a great business that is a big part of St. Louis. 314-993-1800. And don't forget, Window World, they are the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues.
Does your life insurance plan include living benefits, hearing, diabetic supplies, teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones? Larry Connors here. I suggest you call Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Call 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, here's the deal. We've got like 2 minutes or so here to respond. We just talked with Pastor Duane Manuel, who used to be on Thrive's board, but they're not. We've just got two completely different pictures of the conflict at Thrive. And again, I don't like the fact that we've got this in this radio platform here.
Yeah.
Okay. But the Post-Dispatch doesn't get to set the framework for all this.
So there are certainly some misunderstandings going on between the two parties. There's certainly some misconceptions about what exactly happened because, is there mediation? Was there offered? Was it like that? That seems to be a he said, she said at this point.
Yeah.
But the thing is, multiple things can be true at the same time. One, this is really bad timing.
Oh, sure.
Two, going to the Post-Dispatch seems kind of suspect. Right, because it's the Post-Dispatch, but maybe that's where they felt they could go. That's David running away from Saul, going to the Philistines, basically. Right? It's like sometimes that happens. I don't know. And then the other thing is, look, even toxic bosses can be very effective.
Okay, so but also let me point out the one thing that I'm going to take real exception to, and I question Pastor Manuel about this. The people who are making to say that they're
not pro-life,
so-called pro-life, that's no. These are incredibly pro-life people out there. I've read these statements. They've been sent to me. There's been I have my hands on things that are from within this conflict. These accusations are absolutely devastating. If they're true, there's got to be more than one side versus the other side. It shouldn't be these kind of sides for this. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Always be clear where you get your conservative talk.
Our left groups who are paying for and likely stoking these campus protests today. At least 1.3 million came from two liberal foundations, the Rockefeller brothers and George Soros.
Liberal billionaire George Soros is the largest shareholder of Odyssey,
the parent company of KMOX and 97.1 Talk.
And when he controls what's on the radio stations, he's going to be able to control the mind, potentially hundreds of millions of Americans.
St. Louis's trusted source and number one
for conservative talk.
This is News Talk STL.
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding two-story go-kart racing next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at PiccadillyPalace.com. That's PiccadillyPalace.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Political junkies, probably a lot of other people will be listening as the two White House hopefuls mix it up on stage tomorrow night in Philadelphia. Donald Trump, Kamala Harris will hold their first, quite possibly their only debate. The ABC presidential debate to be simulcast live tomorrow evening on the Salem Radio Network. A new presidential poll highlights concerns Americans have about Democratic nominee Harris.
The vice president is virtually tied with Republican Donald Trump in the race for the White House. She finds herself facing some negative perceptions. According to the New York Times Siena College poll, nearly half of Harris is too liberal or progressive. And 5% of respondents say Harris represents major change versus 51% for Trump.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. It's back to work today for And one of the top priorities is a vote on a big money bill that includes a voter integrity add-on.
Congress needs to approve a spending bill before the end of the budget year, September 30th. But the effort to prevent a government shutdown could be stymied by a GOP demand in the House that states require proof of citizenship when registering people to vote. Republican Senator John Cornyn on Fox News Sunday.
In a sane world, the SAVE Act would be non-controversial. It essentially is a national voter ID.
Blocks legitimate voters who don't have easy access to their documents. I'm Jackie Quinn.
People in and around London, Kentucky being urged to be vigilant, keep the doors and the windows locked. This manhunt for a suspected highway gunman, identified as Joseph Couch, goes on. Vehicles hit by bullets along I-75 Saturday, 5 people injured. Wall Street now features up 275. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Coming off that outstanding weekend of weather, we begin to warm things up today. Mainly sunny skies, a high around 83 this afternoon. 70s for your evening plans. Humidity still low, so a fairly nice day. Clear tonight, down into the mid-50s in St. Louis early Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday through Thursday, hotter days with highs from the upper 80s to low 90s. Our next chance of rain does not arrive until Thursday night or into Friday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurologic component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There's something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up, St. Louis.
Will let's knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
There is a struggle happening right now, I'm going to argue, between the conservative movement, particularly the pro-life conservative movement in America, and the Republican/MAGA movement as well. Now, there's a lot of overlap. There's no question about that. They both want to get their tickets elected. But is there a clash of principles? And if so, what's more important, the electoral success or the principles as the debate is going? I'm Mike Ferguson. Suzanne Bowdey, who has been on the program before with the Washington Stand, had a really good commentary recently, said Trump's abortion pivot sparks outcry. This is wrong and we cannot be silent. And Suzanne joins me right now. And Suzanne, first of all, thanks for being on the program. But secondly, thanks for writing the article, because what we're seeing right now is a lot of contention between people who are saying basically, hey, shut up about this pro-life thing. So what? He's not 100% pro-life, but he's better than the other side. So pro-life activists basically owe the Republican Party a vote and support, even if they're backing away from the pro-life position. How do you assess where we are with it. And we'll start there and then get into the different layers of it.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I thought it was interesting how you set this interview up. Was you said, should we care more about winning or should we care about principles? And I would argue that those two things aren't mutually exclusive. And I think we saw that in 2016 when we didn't even know how Trump would be as a pro-life president. Back then, as in now, which is kind of ironic, no one was quite sure if he was the 1990s Trump who said, I am absolutely pro-choice, or the new and improved pro-life Trump. And I think it's sad that after 4 years of seeing him be arguably the most pro-life president in history based on his actions, that we've gotten to a point where we're back to not knowing quite where Trump stands. And I do think, as you suggested, this sort of intra-party war is unfortunate, because I think that conservatives can win on this issue if they're willing about it clearly and succinctly, if they're on the same page. Life is a winning issue in America, and I don't think we should back down from that.
See, there's a lot of people who argue with you and I on that. They say, oh, no. Clearly the culture's changed. They've gone pro-choice or pro-abortion even. And boy, if you want to win and get the other things that you want, lower taxes, hold the line on issues A, B, and C, well, then you're just going to have to move on from this. It's just one of those social issues. We have so many more important things that we have to deal with. Don't lose the war in order to win the battle, or some kind of cliche like that. What's the right response to that? Because what I'm seeing is, and this goes back to the RNC and the platform, is that obviously there's a move within the Republican Party to say we're moving away from some of these conservative positions because we think it's more marketable in the so-called middle.
Right. And I do believe that the platform was a huge red flag, that debate, how it went down, sort of the tyrannical approach that the RNC took to the delegates. But I would ask those people who say, oh, just, pipe down about life right now, how would they feel if the next issue that was up for debate and so easily abandoned was the Second Amendment or free speech? Once it happens to the pro-lifers, who's to say it's not going to happen to another concern on the GOP docket? So, and also I would say that life is the foundation on which all of these other values that conservatives claim to care about rest. And once you say that human dignity and the sanctity of life don't matter, I'm not sure what the foundation would be for the other principles that we say we stand for.
Well, Suzanne, let me ask you this, and this is one of those questions that I think a lot of people don't want to discuss during an election year. And this is just the reality of where we are right now. One of the things they're saying is, okay, well, J.D. Vance has said, yes, the abortion pill should be accessible across the country, even by mail. Donald Trump criticized Florida's heartbeat bill, said 6 weeks is not long enough for abortion to be legal, needs to be more. He's kind of gone back and forth on that issue after the outcry from the pro-life community. But the argument being, okay, so what? He's not really pro-life. But Kamala Harris's campaign and the left and the Democrats are so far on the fringe on this that across the board, they basically want abortion legal essentially right up to birth. And I think a lot of those on the left would agree with that assessment right there. So they're saying, are you going to take the guy who says ban it after one trimester versus the ones who say there are no restrictions at all? Therefore, the duty is to take the best you can get.
Well, I would say, we do have a linear choice right now. We have abortion up until the moment of birth, taxpayer funded. And then we have Trump, who knows where he actually stands and what he would actually do in office this time around. So we do have two choices. One is obviously a lot worse than the other for pro-lifers. But I would say that, the American people are on the side of a more moderate position on life. After Dobbs, everything got confused. I think Republicans were entirely caught off guard by the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, never had a clear vision for what to do next. I think they were just shocked. But most Americans oppose abortion after the first trimester. We're talking like 70% of Americans. So it's not as if fighting for this ground that we've won over all this time is a losing effort. But absolutely, Kamala Harris is the worst, would be the most liberal, the most pro-abortion president we have ever had, which is saying something after 3.5 years of Joe Biden. So I think that it would be hard, honestly, for either candidate right now to reinvent themselves on the abortion issue. And right now we're looking at a former President Trump who had 4 years of incredible pro-life gains. So obviously the choice is clear. I just wish the contrasts were starker. I think we've lost a lot of that with the platform and with the Republicans' silence on the abortion issue, their fear of the abortion issue, and their inability to communicate their care for moms and the unborn.
So how do pro-life activists, how do conservatives reassert that as a priority and try to keep the coalition, if you will, together? Because the reality is the left is better at coalitions during elections and campaigns than the right is. And you can't basically say, well, we're mad at you about this, but we're going to support you. But gosh darn it, after that, you better listen to us, even though we're going to give you support when we disagree with you. It's hard to not follow through with the threat and then be able to have an influence later.
Well, I think you referenced earlier the Florida's Amendment 4. Trump actually flipped his position on that. Initially, it sounded like he was going to endorse Amendment 4, which would allow basically abortion up until the moment of birth, because they haven't defined what the term viability means. But I think that what you saw was the power of pro-lifers, the true pro-life movement standing up and speaking out. And he pivoted from that position. And I do believe that there is a growing chorus of pro-lifers. You have Josh Hawley, Lila Rose, Professor Robbie George, former Vice President Mike Pence, Kristen Hawkins. I think the more pro-life leaders and the more pro-life voters who speak up, the louder they are, the harder it will be for the Trump campaign to ignore, and the RNC. I think at the local level, I believe a lot of the states, their pro-life platforms are actually, which are slightly different than the national platform, are very strong on the life issue. I would encourage them to continue to fight to protect that ground. But the louder pro-lifers are, the more impossible it will be for people to ignore them.
So in addition to the votes, or separately from the votes here in the last minute or so, we're visiting with Suzanne Bowdey from the Washington stand. And how do you win the hearts and the minds of the next generation, not just of voters, but of people to value life? Because there's so many other things in our culture and society that depend on being a culture of life, not just a bunch of laws of life, but a culture and a mindset of life.
I think that the left does such a good job of telling stories, and that's something that I don't think conservatives and Republicans have really leaned into. But I think once you can really focus on the personhood and the true stories of these moms, the personhood of the unborn, bringing it back to these little babies, the innocent that so many seem to care about. I think we need to do a better job of telling the stories of these women and helping these women, being pro-adoption, being pro-pregnancy, pro-parent. You know, after the baby's born, conservatives are often accused of just, not caring anymore, that they only care about the abortion policy. We need to be pro-woman in the best sense of the word, pro-child, pro-baby, and really humanize this debate for the American people.
All right. The article, Trump's Abortion Pivot Sparks Outcry, This is Wrong and We Cannot Be Silent, can be found where, Suzanne?
At thewashingtonstand.com.
All right. Great to chat with you again, Suzanne. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, what do you think? Look up the Washington Stand, which is part of the Family Research Council's outreach and their media coverage. Trump's Abortion Pivot Sparks Outcry, This is Wrong and We Cannot Be Silent by Suzanne Bowdey. What do you think? All right, let's talk. 314-912-1019. I think this is one of the areas where one side's demanding the other compromise. The other says you've got to stick to the principles. And it comes down to, okay, an election is to be had here. What's the right priority? Like Suzanne said, can you stick to your principles and still win the election? What do you think? Let's talk right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Don't try to make me stop. Inspiration, you have a soul so dark, it is no more.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I've had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin. Get up, what are you waiting for?
Hello, this is Eric from Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. If you are looking for a local family-owned jewelry store, come in and meet the Newsteaders Fine Jewelry family, a St. Louis tradition for over 60 years. Let us introduce you to unique and one-of-a-kind pieces. While here, we'd be happy to examine and professionally clean your jewelry at no charge. If it does need some maintenance, we can give you an estimate right then, and all of our repairs are done on site. Visit us at wowdiamonds.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Seavers JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. The choice is yours to take 5 on one of these great offers. Take 0% financing for 5 years or take up to a $5,500 cash rebate and 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details. These offers are for a limited time, so head to your nearest Seavers JCB and check out their full line of JCB construction equipment or visit seaversjcb.com.
Hi, Susie Moore here. American culture is at a crossroads. My friend and coworker at Red State, Kira Davis, has written a new book called Drawing Lines: Why Conservatives Must Begin to Battle Fiercely in the Arena of Ideas. She challenges conservative Americans to stop retreating from culture and helps you to think critically through the pressing cultural issues of our day and offers practical advice and solutions. It's time for conservatives to make themselves uncomfortable and get engaged, get inspired, get moving, and get winning. Pick up a copy of Kira's new book, Drawing Lines, available at Amazon, faithfultexts.com, or wherever books are sold.
Looking for a cruise vacation? Cruise.com is offering its exclusive sale of the year to all listeners to this station. Every major cruise line, including Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, MSC, and more, are on sale now. Call 1-800-507-9264 and book one of these deals while supplies last. Cruises start from as low as $39 per person per day. There isn't a better vacation value to places like Alaska, Europe, the Caribbean, South America, and more. Call one of the largest cruise specialists in the world at 1-800-507-9264. We'll find you a vacation that includes drinks, Wi-Fi, excursions, and more. Call 1-800-507-9264. That's 1-800-507-9264. Space is limited. Don't miss your opportunity to book the best deal of the year. That's 1-800-507-9264. Sponsored by Cruise.com.
News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
All right. So many comments coming in right now regarding that conversation we just had with Pastor Duane Manuel. Basically sticking up for Bridge of Van Means and the board at Thrive. So many that we're going to come back to this at 8:35.
Yeah,
there
kind
have
of
been
have
some
to.
questions. A lot of comments have come in. I feel like we're shortchanging it if we don't come back to it.
Sure. Yeah.
So 314-912-1019, just to let you know, in 15 minutes, we are going to come back to that conversation. That discussion with Pastor Manuel, just like the conversation with Pastor Bond on Friday, that's going to go up on the podcast, News Talk STL, so you can listen to both of them. Can I just point out that I am not interested in one side winning or the other side losing.
Right.
Okay.
Same.
What I'm interested in is getting things back to where Thrive can run full steam ahead, saving the lives like they have done thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Okay. So I've got some thoughts on this, and I know Gabe does, and I want to hear yours as well. It is 8:20 right now. Let's go with Steve here. Hey, Steve, you are on News Talk STL. And by the way, if you missed that conversation with Suzanne Bowdey, you can find that on our podcast as well. What do you think, Steve?
Hey, good morning, guys. First off, before I jump into that subject, you guys seem to have some contacts in both sides of this Thrive debate.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to just step in and tell these guys, hey, let's have a truce until after the November election? Let's work it out after then.
The short answer is I don't know. I am in constant contact with people involved in this. The most honest answer I can give you is I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on this party divide or this switch, I think it is a real concern, and it goes back, and you and I both talked about, and you've talked about on the show, the abject failure going back a couple of decades at least on the part of the Republican Party to elucidate and explain their principles. I think back to even George H.W. Bush when he was questioned during an interview or a debate back in the election cycle about pro-life issues, and he was completely unable to articulate why he was pro-life. I think with many Republicans, it has gotten over the decades almost to be a box that they check. Second Amendment, check. I can say I'm for it, but they can't tell you why. They can't tell you why they're pro-life. They can't say, hey, this is a human life. We need to protect it. Part of the government's job is to protect the innocent lives of the people in our country.
Yeah.
And they just don't, either it's lack of courage, lack of knowledge, I don't know what, but I think we're seeing the result of some of that type of thinking. Of course, we're also seeing the result of, all the new Republicans who came in just for Trump, and they're Trump only. They're not philosophically necessarily aligned with the Republican Party. And I think I have seen that the woman you had on, she said, what if it was 2A? What if it was this? I've already seen there is a softening, and there is a discussion within the 2A community. There is a softening in the Republican platform and discussion on the Second Amendment. They are backing away from strict 2A. And their economic stances have gotten totally out of whack. I mean, some of the things that the opposition to the welfare state and, economic things like tariffs and all these, just seems like everything has gotten out of whack in terms of having any kind of a principled stand. They're just kind of throwing stuff out there, whatever they think will be popular.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Steve. It sounds like
really disturbs me.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we're talking. Are we looking at populism versus principles? Is what we're looking at. Yeah. Hey, Steve, appreciate you being on, man. Thanks so much. 314-912-1019. By the way, speaking of Amendment 3, because you know what, let's go ahead and dump some. Let's dump some news on
just a little bit
right now. Let's do it.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
Okay, so let's pick up on Steve just referenced this here, and we talked to Pastor Manuel about this. Amendment 3 may or may not be on the ballot.
I hope to God not. I pray to God not.
Exactly. So the decision is far from final. Decision's going to be handed down tomorrow at the Missouri Supreme Court. This has been fast-tracked here. So here's what happened. On Friday, Judge Christopher Limbaugh ruled that voters were purposely not informed of the current pro-life statutes that the amendment would overturn if passed by voters. If that's the case, that is a violation of Missouri state law. Now, the ruling that was given ruled that the amendment violated the state law. Judge Limbaugh, despite what you may have seen on social media, did not strike this from the ballot.
Right.
He ruled it is in violation of state law, recognized that there is going to be appeal, put a stay on, and then gave the pro-abortion side the time to file an appeal. Okay, that's from a legal perspective, a judiciary perspective, it appears to me, not a lawyer, but I've just covered these things for a long time, that seems to be the prudent thing to do. That is the correct thing to do,
Yes.
whether you agree with his ruling or not. And I do agree with his ruling. He also ruled that there are multiple subjects within the amendment, which is also in violation of Missouri state law.
Right. So he made his ruling, and then he, in recognizing that the higher court needs to decide,
Right.
he just said, okay, I'm not going to strike it because I want the higher court to have that final say.
Precisely. And so here's the thing, though. Tomorrow is the deadline to confirm or remove something from the general election ballot when it comes to these. So there will be a hearing at starting around 8:30 in the morning. So 24 hours from right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we'll get some kind of ruling. The court has to rule.
Yeah.
My guess is that the court is going to rule to keep Amendment 3 on the ballot, even if it is in violation of state law. And I know you're saying, well, how could that possibly be? I'm just telling you that in Missouri, the judicial culture is one that really shies away from taking things off the ballot once it's been petitioned on.
Right.
So there may be a legal fight after that, but if it passes, it's going to be really hard to say we're striking down a constitutional amendment if voters approve that. And of course, it just takes 50% plus one because Republicans chose not to enact initiative petition reform.
Now, we've had initiative petitions get struck down after they've been voted on, haven't we?
In some statute cases.
Okay.
Yes.
Never amendments.
It may have happened. I don't recall it,
Not off the
but
top of
it
your head.
may. I don't want to say never, but I just can't think of one. All right. Some other things that are happening here, of course, in reaction to that school shooting tragedy in Georgia. What are we seeing from the left immediately, as we talked about last week, pouncing on gun control? Senator Raphael Warnock from Georgia was on Meet the Press on NBC on Sunday.
14-year-olds don't need AR-15s. And we need to get these military-style weapons off the streets. 87% of Americans, Democrats and Republicans, according to a Fox News report last year, believe that we ought to have universal background checks, and still we can't even get that done in Congress.
Yeah, there's a thing called the Second Amendment there, Senator. I'll tell you about it later. 14-year-old Colt Gray and his dad both now face murder charges murder and second-degree murder for the father as well. Father accused of providing him with the rifle that he used to carry out the shooting after he knew that his son could be a danger. Those are the accusations. All right, the families of the Freedom 13 are being honored this week. On Tuesday, each family, and that, of course, includes that of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, will be given the Congressional Gold Medal at a ceremony in Washington. And along with the Congressional Medal of Freedom, the Gold Medal is the oldest and highest civilian award given by Congress.
All right.
Yeah.
Deserved.
And Speaker Mike Johnson, according to multiple reports, was really kind of the spark that made this happen for the Gold Star families. All right. And speaking of that withdrawal in Afghanistan that created the chaos that ended up taking the lives of what we now know as the Freedom 13, House Republicans have expanded their investigation into what happened there. Florida Congressman Mike Waltz, he's a Republican. He was on Fox News Live saying that what they're finding means the withdrawal was much bigger than just the debacle at the time.
Afghanistan was the spark that lit the fuse on the chaos that we're seeing around the world, because it sent a message that America was in retreat. America would abandon its allies.
And the State Department is responding by saying basically those mean old Republicans are only doing something for partisan purposes to hurt the administration. This is just partisan politics. That's the official statement from the Department of State.
Yeah, the Taliban parade with our equipment was just a figment of our imagination, right?
Yeah, exactly. Partisan stuff. All right. See here. St. Louis Cardinals do not have a game today. They're off today. The Cincinnati Reds are in town tomorrow. Cardinals lost to the Mariners on Sunday. It was like 10-4.
Yep.
So basically, the little tiny flickering of hope of any sort of playoff berth is getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and you really got to look hard to find it at this point.
Mathematically possible,
yeah.
Statistically improbable.
And based on what we've seen from the season so far, no.
effing impossible.
Yeah, basically. All right.
Yeah.
314-912-1019. All right. The wounds are open regarding the work that Thrive does and the accusations. We have now spoken with people on both sides of this divide. I see the comments coming in on Rumble. Are we seeing them on Facebook too? Let's have a very real and blunt conversation about it at 8:35. Now's the time to get involved if you want to be a part of it here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL 314-912-1019.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Coming off that outstanding weekend of weather, we begin to warm things up today. Mainly sunny skies, a high around 83 this afternoon. 70s for your evening plans. Humidity still low, so a fairly nice day. Clear tonight, down into the mid-50s in St. Louis early Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday through Thursday, hotter days with highs from the upper 80s to low 90s. Our next chance of rain does not arrive until Thursday night or into Friday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary.
Tuesday is the long-awaited first presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and here's my advice for Trump. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
The stage is set for Tuesday night's first presidential debate face-off between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. This is, of course, Donald Trump's second presidential debate this election cycle. His June 27th performance against Joe Biden effectively ended Joe's candidacy and forced the Democrats to change course. The Kamala debate will be much different for obvious reasons. She's a whole new candidate. And with that comes a minefield of traps Donald Trump must avoid. My advice to Trump is to talk less and listen more. He does not need to interrupt her or even attempt to speak over her. That's the most obvious trap. He also needs to watch his tone and his body language. If he comes across condescending or aggressive, he will play right into their hands and give her and Democrat pundits the victimhood escape hatch. Trump should make this debate all about Kamala and her policies. She's been largely unable or unwilling to define them, so let's put her on the hot seat. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Attention St. Louis. The Republican Central Committee invites you to the annual Lincoln Reagan Days dinner. Join us Saturday, October 5th at the River City Casino for an evening of inspiration and insight with this year's special keynote speaker, J.J. Carell, retired U.S. Border Patrol, who served under Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from a true expert in border security. For details and tickets, visit newstalkstl.com.
As the daughter of an OBGYN, I learned from a young age that no topic is too taboo for discussion at the dinner table. This family-centered, transparent approach to health and wellness that my dad, you may know him as Dr. Randy Tobler, created for my siblings and I, is what we strive to deliver to our patients at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Sammy Tobler-Gregory with Body of Health, where relationships matter. Come learn about healthcare the way it ought to be and schedule your free discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
America Decides 2024.
The Trump-Harris debate is Tuesday night.
It'll be an interesting evening.
And you can hear it live here, beginning at 8.
We have the momentum.
Your home for America Decides 2024. News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Oh, don't you dare look back. Just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said, shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said, ooh, shut up and dance with me.
All right, 8:36 right now. So much discussion happening with Thrive. So let me talk about the positive and the negative of this, okay?
Okay.
Let me start with the negative of this, is that we have a very real wound that's having the salt rubbed on it, in part by what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But that wound was opened when everything went to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Mm-hmm.
The wound was there
Sure.
already with whatever's happening at Thrive.
This whole thing became public
public.
Yeah.
And I have said multiple times, in a perfect world, we're not doing this in public in the media, but I am not letting the St. Louis Post-Dispatch be the place that sets the terms and the platform of this.
Right.
Okay. So there's that. Now, having said that, the positive, and I know somebody's saying, what do you mean the positive, Mike? The positive is that people are so passionate about this because I think we all agree that the work that Thrive has done and is doing is crucial. They have literally demonstrably saved tens of thousands of lives over the last, almost 20 years or whatever it's been. Okay. So we're not questioning the work that's being done. As a matter of fact, that's the point.
Right.
So in that article that was posted by the Post-Dispatch on Thursday, and I think the plan that I was told is that it was in the print edition yesterday. I mean, I read the online edition. I have not seen the print edition, but my understanding is it was in the print edition yesterday. One of the key interviews is with Aaron Liu, who says that among the not just toxic workplace, but the accusations against Bridget Van Means include, they're arguing spiritually abusive and emotionally abusive behavior to the point of interfering with a marriage. And Aaron just called in.
Yeah.
We've got him right here. So Aaron, I appreciate you being on the program. We've had people, comment on our social media saying, aren't you talking to the people who say they're victims on this? The short answer is yes, we have off the air, but I'm trying to not be destructive in these conversations. That doesn't mean that I want to cover anything up. I don't want to do that. But at the same time, the whole purpose should be some kind of resolution, reconciliation, and being able to move forward with the work that needs to be done. We don't have logistically the time to go through your entire story. But when people are saying, hey, you're casting, accusations against Bridget, we just heard from a pastor who says, well, they're just attacking the pro-life work. What's your reaction when you hear those sorts of things?
Yeah, and thanks for having me on, guys, and thank you for approaching. I know this is not a fun conversation. My response to that would be that those who are making accusations are actually extremely pro-life. I mean, these are all people who have literally laid down their lives. I mean, my family, we moved from out of state. There's others that have, and they've laid down their lives, their extreme amount of finances for this work, and we believe in it. And we're standing with those employees now who are still there, who are still hanging on, because they believe so much in this good work that's done at Thrive. And I still believe it too. But what we now realize is that there is this harsh leader, and to say that it's just a tough boss or any of that, even a toxic leader, like I feel like that really belittles what we're actually dealing with here. I mean, I've talked to so many people, and it's been from 15 years of Bridget's time at Thrive. And this results, honestly, in years of therapy afterwards. I learned of a story over the weekend, and it's a woman who was pretty high up, very closely working with Bridget. And the typical response after you're done there is you get shoved off into isolation. The whole staff is told, don't contact you. They have things they're working on. They don't want any response. So this particular individual, I mean, she's been suffering for 3 years, trying to make sense of all of this abuse. suicidal. And this is not the only case. I mean, my wife and I, as you mentioned, were the ones featured in that story. This is extreme psychological abuse. This is a woman who sets herself up as a prophet. These are all things that she will say publicly, that she is a prophet, that she is 100% accurate, that she always has one ear to heaven. And so she causes you and forces you to essentially bow down and do everything that she says. So in our instance, it was her entering into so many aspects of our personal lives. And my wife and I were literally afraid that we would, if we did anything different than what she said, because she would tell story after story of people who did in the past, and their lives would fall apart. They would be in car wrecks. They would be in plane crashes. They would have near-death experiences. And so you are in literal fear that if you do anything opposite of what she says, that your life's going to crumble. So she started getting in my wife's mind, I mean, literally hundreds of hours on the phone, and turned her on me and made her think that I was this terrifying monster, which is totally not true. I mean, I'm this gentle guy who loves people and is kind, and I love my children. And yet she made me out. I mean, she even turned my kids on me. It's like, this is how terrifying this is. And I would say, honestly, as rough of a situation as we had, I mean, it was a nightmare. Like, I don't want to belittle it. It was terrifying. And yet, if it had just been us, we would have been willing to just heal and move on. I mean, we did so for a year.
Aaron.
It was really, yes.
Good morning, Gabe Pfeiffer here. So, just one of the criticisms that I think has been lodged against those who are kind of bringing up these accusations, especially is the timing, first of all, and also the venue in which this came through. You know, why go to the enemy as in, you know, the Post-Dispatch? They're obviously not exactly sympathetic to the pro-life movement. They're really the enemies of it. So why go to them with this story?
Yeah, so conversations started happening with board members upwards of almost 2 years ago. I know our situation in particular, we welcome board members into our home, had dinner with them, had conversation, and it was pretty much, you're lying and we don't believe you. And so then their advice was to go to pastors to seek counsel. And so we did that. And as we went to our pastors, major red flags started coming about. I mean, one in particular was Grace Church, and they did I am so appreciative of them because they did a very thorough investigation. They didn't just take my word. They didn't just take anyone's word. They had upwards of 20 individuals who came forward with stories. And so they did a very thorough due diligence. They made a statement. Then in the end, I mean, what they were encouraging was an independent investigation, which is what we had all encouraged from the beginning. And we had given them routes to go about that. Not that it was just our decision, but we were definitely encouraging them because I didn't want them to take my word. And so Grace, I think, did it in a very healthy way. And the board refused that and said they would not be doing an investigation, that this was all lies. And so at that point, they withdrew support, which I know encouraged other pastors to as well as they came across these stories. And then it just turned into this, anyone who would speak up. I mean, there's been several, not just pastors. I think there's been probably 6 or 8, at least, pastors who have gotten cease and desist letters. There's been plenty of individuals. Anyone who writes a letter to the board about their concerns has pretty much gotten a letter from their legal counsel in an attempt to silence them. And so we've tried, we've wanted these open conversations with the board. We've also known from the beginning that Bridget is pretty much running their entire aspect. And so any letter is going back to Bridget, which makes it very difficult for current staff to feel safe to actually speak up.
Okay, Aaron, let me jump in because we're unfortunately right up against a time thing that we've got here. So here's the really one of the tough things for I hate to say both sides because we should all be on the same side. We're just not right now. And that is that when it comes to the media aspect of it, this is going to be, one side, says all this, and I've read these documents. I mean, I've read the statements. I've read them. They are heartbreaking. If there's a shred of truth to any of them, this is horrible. And then we've got, another side, like we just heard from Pastor Manuel, says, nope, never happened. None of it's ever happened at all. And I took some issue with some of the things that Pastor Manuel has said, as far as saying, these are people who supposedly pro-life. Well, they are pro-life. I mean, and that's, that was right. So I want to be, obviously careful from a media standpoint that we're not, but we're putting everything out there that we can responsibly. because there have been some that put them out there irresponsibly on here as well. So I really appreciate you being on the program, but I hate to cut off time, but we've got what we call clocks here. I can't go too much more, just another minute or so on this. But what's the right resolution right now? I mean, is it about defeating one side and getting somebody replaced, or is it about what would it take for there to be reconciliation, for Thrive to be able to focus on the life-saving work that they have been so good at, and that we can all get back and just focus on that? Because I don't regret any of my donations to Thrive, because I know how many lives they have saved over the years, but the organization has to survive internally before it can have an effect externally.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would agree with what Pastor Bond said on Friday, that I don't believe there's any way forward except for a change of leadership. And I think that's very obvious. And that's all our desires, is we want that work to be continued. But another key, like in accordance or in response to Duane, like I see why he's seen that as everyone loves working at Thrive, because the reality is it's demanded of you to bow down essentially to Bridget. I mean, lavish praise, lavish honor, and you're firmly corrected if you don't do that. So from the surface, it seems like everyone's loving working there. I think it'll be very obvious that is not the case.
Okay.
So,
all right, Aaron, thank you so much, man. And we weren't planning on an interview segment, but I appreciate you calling in. I'm glad we were able to do this. I'm really glad you were being
guys too. I appreciate it.
All right, 314-912-1019. I want to take kind of a breather.
Yeah, let's
this.
do something.
Let's do something on this here
before we take off.
My hope is that very quickly we're not doing this.
I would really like this to go away.
Right. I mean, because
but in the right way.
Right. Here's the thing is everything that Aaron has said and what's been outlined in the newspaper article, those are accusations.
Yes.
Nothing, those are accounts. Those are accusations. Their response has been, that's not true. And it's going to be up to everybody to make up their own mind to see who they believe on that. In the meantime, while these articles like in the Post-Dispatch and these accusations, while these are out there right now, and believe me, the other side loves the fact that this division's being there. I don't love it, but I see the importance in trying to heal it.
Yeah.
What's it going to take? I don't know the answer. I'm not that smart. I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But thank you for all the comments here. We got some people saying, yes, listen to all the victim statements. Others are saying, man, this is a lot of hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand all those perspectives.
All right. I need your advice on something around, well, my mom needs your advice. No, I take that back. My wife needs your advice.
Oh, okay.
And it's not just putting up with me.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's going on here. Let's talk about it at 8:51.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
This woman is my destiny. She said,
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The Roots and Boots Tour 90s Electric Throwdown with Sammy Kershaw.
That's my story.
Colin Ray.
Oh, that's my story.
And Aaron Tippett.
Ain't a Cadillac.
Saturday, November 9th at the Family Arena.
There ain't nothing wrong.
Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture Box Office, located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. Roots and Boots Tour 90s Electric Throwdown.
Legends of Country Rock with Pure Prairie League, Atlanta Rhythm Section, Richie Furay from Poco and Buffalo Springfield, and Firefall. Saturday, September 28th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Legends of Country Rock live.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby, only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Student loans can be a strain on your family. For a limited time, the Springfield, Missouri Police Department is offering qualifying new officers up to $12,500 to help ease the burden of student loans. If you're driven, honest, and team-oriented, we want to talk to you about joining our next paid police academy. Start serving your community as a leader of it with the Springfield Police Department. Visit gospd.com for more information. That's gospd.com. Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
Previously, Biden said he would not pardon Hunter. Well, Hunter pled guilty now to 9 federal counts. Anything changed?
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, just a couple quick notes here. By the way, interesting debate that's happening on Rumble in particular, and I know Facebook as well. The chat box goes away when we cut the stream and make room for Vic Porcelli here at 9 o'clock. So really appreciate those discussions. We can keep those going, particularly on Facebook as well.
Yeah, they'll stay on Facebook.
Secondly, tomorrow is the last day to get your registration in to win a couple of tickets to join us at the Reagan movie screening on Saturday. All the winners are going to be notified tomorrow.
Actually, it's midnight tonight.
Oh, midnight tonight. I'm sorry. The winners are going to be notified tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, yeah. So today, midnight tonight is the last to get your registration in to win those tickets to watch the Reagan movie with us. And also, Bob Onder is going to be there as well. Next congressman from the 3rd District of Missouri. So, newstalkstl.com to get those in, to get those registrations in. And we will let the winners know Tuesday, which means we got a lot of emails going out on Tuesday for all those winners. Okay, 8:53 here. Let's take a breath here.
Yes, please.
So talked to my mom over the weekend. So she's come to a deal. She's selling her house in Kansas City.
Okay, so she's moving.
She's gonna, and she's actually not coming to St. Louis. She's going to move to New Hampshire, where my brother and my sister-in-law are. So that's in place right now. Here's the thing that's got us kind of bummed out. We've had fun talking about our pets and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and she has a calico cat named Punky.
That's right, Punky the Survivor.
Punky the Survivor. If you remember the last winter, Punky ran off.
Rogue.
She went rogue on us, and we had that horrible sub-zero, like 7-8 days, and we're like, there's no way this cat is going to survive. And they found her, and she was real skinny, but
she was on life number 6.
Yeah. But here's the thing: is this cat has got one of the best dispositions of any cat I've ever seen. You know, like
she just wants to be with you.
She is a lap cat. She wants to be, she wants to be up on your lap. You are a friend until you show her otherwise. You walk into my mom's house and this thing meows at you until you say hi, and
So she's perfect.
Yeah, she is a little purr monster. She is a little purr monster. So here's the thing, though, is that all of the places that my mom is, because now they're like have to really hurry up and find a place for her to move to. It just makes financial sense, at least for the first year, for mom to rent for a variety of reasons, which normally that's not what you would want to do at her age, but that's what makes sense right now. None of the places, either they don't allow pets or they don't allow cats specifically.
Man.
Up in New Hampshire,
up in this part of New Hampshire.
I guess they don't like that ammonia smell,
apparently, which is not a concern with Punky, but where I get rather. So mom may have to part with her little companion. And this really makes us sad,
That is
because
sad.
this cat's been really good for my mom. You know, she's a widow. My dad died years ago. But she doesn't look like she's gonna be able to take Punky. So now she's like, we need to find, another home for Punky, who's very, very good cat. My wife says, well, why don't we take Punky? Which I'm fine with, except Rosie is very territorial. So we had like my daughter brought her cat over once, and that did not go over well. So can you acclimate adult female cats in the same space? I mean, if we brought in a brand newborn kitten, I don't think it would be a big deal.
Sure.
But I don't know about a newborn, fully grown other cat.
I've seen, like Instagram people who do these types of things. I've seen them go through the process. Like, okay, well, you keep a separator between them. This is one cat's room, and this is another cat's room for a little while. They get to smell each other. You take the blanket from the other and you put it in the space of the other, so they get used to each other's, and then there's all these this whole big process. And still, it could possibly not work because they're cats.
They're cats.
Cats.
I mean,
the dogs would probably kind of just deal with one another.
Dogs are just I mean, but
it's like, oh, new pack member. Hey, how you doing?
Right.
Let me smell your butt.
But with with cats, it's like you look at these personalities. I mean, Punky is the little princess who would do no wrong and always be polite, and everybody. Rosie's got warrants in 2 counties right now. I mean, let's just
the sheriff's looking for
I'm just saying,
catnip theft.
It's just the way that it is. So I mean, this cat's kind of won us all over.
Yeah.
And I hate that my mom is apparently going to be unable to take the cat. My brother and his wife, because of allergies, can't take Punky in, and calicos are very long hair and stuff. So I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah. I don't know. I would offer my home, but I also have a slightly territorial cat.
Yeah.
So, she didn't do well with the other 2 cats who were there.
Goat Lady says she has seen adult cats learn to get along, and that would, if we thought that could happen, I'd say let's take her, but I don't know.
On Saturday, September 21st, the Cardinals host the Guardians. And on that night, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will get ready for the colder weather with a new for 2024 Cardinals jersey hoodie, thanks to Stiefel. This unique wearable features a home white jersey over a red hooded sweatshirt. Don't miss your chance to add this to your Cardinals wardrobe. And that'll be on Saturday, September 21st, the Cardinals jersey hoodie. For tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
Join football royalty at Busch Stadium on Saturday, September 21st for the greatest show on turf's 25th anniversary celebration presented by Bally Sports. Secure your theme ticket now to take home an exclusive greatest show on turf cap. Upgrade your experience with one of the day's VIP events, autograph sessions with Torrey Holt, Marshall Falk, or Isaac Bruce, or a Q&A session with Mike Martz and Mike Jones. That's Saturday, September 21st. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/theme.
No. Is your computer giving you headaches? Make it happy again with Jeff Computers. For 30 years, this locally and family-owned business has been the St. Louis area's trusted one-stop shop for cybersecurity, managed IT, and data recovery services. Choose the experts at Jeff Computers. They offer computer protection plans and can recover your lost or damaged data. Visit them in Ellisville or call 636-256-7901. Online at jeffcomputers.com and tell them Newstalk STL sent you.
Dreaming of upgrading your outdoor space? STL FenceWorks is the choice for you. Our skilled craftsmen build custom fences from modern vinyl to classic ornamental, fitting your style and budget. Elevate your outdoor living with low-maintenance decks designed to relax and entertain. We choose only top-quality American-made materials, ensuring your project is built to last. Your satisfaction is our passion.